Live from Red Wilson Field, it's the scene of the East Division Championship in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Both of these teams, the Yarmouth-Dennis Red Sox and the Orleans Firebirds, 2 postseason wins away from a chance to make it to the championship series. And it's 2 of the best managers going at it. Scott Pickler for YD, Kelly Nicholson for Orleans, a combined 72 career postseason wins between these 2 legends. They go at it one more time tonight, tomorrow night, and maybe the night after that, and what should be an absolutely electric series. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore on the call. The third member of our crew, Sammy Miller, you'll hear from her in just a moment. Dylan Orleans gets the off day yesterday, sweeps the Harwich Mariners, a couple low-scoring pitchers' duels in which Orleans only used 5 arms through 2 games, and they got it done.
They did, Ian, and it was all on the back of the pitching staff and some clutch hitting. You start with 2 starting pitcher performances that were to write home about. Grayson Carter gives you 6 innings of 1-run baseball in Game 1 with 8 strikeouts, and then Game 2, Ivan Romero, a gritty 6-inning, 2-run performance with 6 strikeouts of his own, and then you hand it off to the bullpen. In Game 1, it was Matthew Watson. In Game 2, it was Jaden Winter and Sean Matson. The pitching was playoff worthy. The hitting in the 8th and the 9th inning was also playoff worthy. Now, how can the Firebirds get the hitting going in innings 1 through 7? That's going to be the key to this series against YD.
And how important was it that YD's series against Brewster was a 3-game set? Orleans with the sweep of Harwich get the day off yesterday.
Oh, it's so important because YD now has played 3 days in a row, no off day. They had a big, tough, right down to the wire game yesterday, a 4-3 win against Brewster that they hit the go-ahead home run in the bottom of the 8th. It was stressful all the way through with a huge crowd here at Red Wilson Field. And then now they have to come back the next day and play an Orleans team that's rested and that's ready. Pitching 100% favors the Firebirds. The hitting, I think you can look at it on both ways. The Firebirds, they took BP at Eldridge yesterday. YD got some game action, and we'll see how that figures out.
The scorching start here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescatore on the call. Let's highlight that game yesterday from Red Wilson Field. A rubber match between Brewster and YD. Game 1 went Brewster's way. It was a blowout, 18-7 for the Whitecaps. Game 2, Whitecaps no hit through 5 innings, and then they lose 3-1. Yesterday, YD wins with 2 hits and 4 runs. It was just kind of a wonky game, and YD maybe a little lucky to be in this spot right now, advancing.
Ian, I'm right with you. When you talk about lucky, you talk about fortunate. Like you said, double-digit walks for the YD hitters yesterday. That's not something that Orleans is really going to bring to the table. They're not going to walk a lot of hitters. Look at their starting pitcher today, Evan Truitt. Only 8 walks allowed in almost 30 innings pitched this summer. They're not going to give you the free walks. YD, if they're going to win this series, they're going to have to earn it with hits. They're going to have to earn it with home runs. And especially here at Red Wilson Field where the dimensions are what they are, I think this game can favor the offense.
Orleans, who only scored 4 runs in Game 2 and 2 runs in Game 1, but got it done when they needed to offensively. Hoping they have a little more juice in the bats than YD tonight. These 2 teams during the regular season deadlocked at 3 games apiece in their 6-game set. That's not the only thing that they share. Sammy Miller tells us the similarities between these 2 East Division rivals. Sammy?
Thanks, Ian. The Firebirds are hungry to, of course, punch their ticket into the championships, but to also do it over YD, who took over the first seed in the East, would make this series win that much sweeter. Heading into this playoff series, it doesn't get really much more even than this. Each team is coming in with 3 wins over each other and very similar records. Both have 2 of the best pitching staffs in the league that give each other trouble every time they go head-to-head, as well as some pretty big bats in their lineups that have just been getting hotter as this weather has on the Cape Cod. And they both have been going through their fair share of ups and downs this season, but all of that is in the past now because they are only focused on 1 game at a time to get to the big dance. For the Firebirds, they can't dwell on their past success in the last series against Harwich, and instead they're looking to build on it by passing the baton earlier in the game. In the past 2, they have really turned it on in the 8th and 9th innings, but when you're up against a team like YD, you have to set the tone early on and can't afford to dig yourself a hole because you may not have enough time to dig yourself out of it. So the big emphasis pregame is going out there, throwing that first punch to set themselves up for a tough battle. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Sammy. We continue our pregame coverage here on this scorching start. Just moments before first pitch in Game 1 of the East Division Championship between Orleans and YD. Dylan, Sammy mentions landing the first punch. Orleans did that in Game 2 days ago. Eddie Micheletti, an RBI single in the first inning. Then they fall behind in the third 2-1. They don't score again until the 8th. And then in the 8th and 9th, 3 runs to overpower the Mariners and get the clean sweep. The middle of this order has been so important. And a few nights ago, it was Matt Hallback and Eddie Micheletti who steered the ship.
They did, and those have been the 3 and 4 bats for this Firebirds team almost the entire season. Hallback with 3 hits in Game 2. Eddie Micheletti driving in a few runs, 1 in the first inning, 1 in the 8th inning to tie the game, past the first baseman, Ethan Anderson, to make it 2-2 at the time. And then Eddie King Jr., who also came up big. Those 3 bats, along with Jack Penny, those 4, I should say, drove the bus in the first series. Who's going to drive the bus in the second series?
I want to be on the bus if it continues to win like this. But the bus is going to make a quick stop to the UC San Diego because, Dylan, you caught up with Matt Hallback before the game. He has been scorching hot with 3 or more hits in 3 of his last 4 games, and maybe we'll find out why right here.
Thanks, Ian. Dylan Pescatore here on the Scorching Start pregame show with first baseman Matt Hallback. Matt, you had a big Game 2 against Harwich, 3 hits, and you got the 8th inning rally continuing on and going. 2 come-from-behind wins for the Firebirds in the first round. What does that say about the team?
It just says that we're never out of it. Even when we're down in those late innings, we have confidence that we'll come back, and we always find a way to win it, which is super cool about the guys.
2-game series sweep against Harwich, only having to use 5 pitchers. How great was the pitching in that 2-game series?
Yeah, it was amazing. They kept us in every single game, letting up just a few runs. It makes it a lot easier for the hitters to hit when, the game's always close. And we saved a lot of arms, so we're in a good spot going to the next round.
You play a YD team that had your number earlier in the season, but at the end of the year, you had a big 11-4 win against them to get the 1 seed, which eventually turned into the 2 seed. This is the top team in the East. How are you approaching this series personally?
Yeah, I feel like we're approaching it like any other series. Obviously, they were beating us early in the season, and then we got another win. So I feel like we're pretty confident right now, especially coming off a sweep. We feel good. It's going to be the same approach we always have, just go play baseball.
The big storyline is you guys got the 2-game sweep, got the rest day yesterday. These guys had to play 3 games in a row and close games against Brewster. Does that give you some sort of advantage?
Yeah, definitely. They're going to be a little more tired than us. We just got an off day, so we're feeling pretty good. I think it'll help us out during the game.
You're facing a starting pitcher in Jason Doktorzik that had a lot of success against you last time out. 6 innings of shutout baseball, including 7 Ks. Is it nice to face a guy the second time knowing what you're going to get this time?
Yeah, definitely. He pitched really well last time. But yeah, we like you said, we've seen him before, so we kind of know more what we're getting into. I think we'll have more success today.
Another thing from that 2-game series was the defense. You had a diving catch on a line drive in Game 2. Overall, the defense was really good. Only 1 error in those 2 games. How important is defense in the playoffs?
Yeah, it means everything. You win the game on defense, so it's been good that we've been playing good defense, and we're going to keep it rolling.
And then last question. Your guys' position players have been around for almost the whole season. The latest addition to the squad was Brandon Stallman about 3 weeks ago. A lot of other teams have had a revolving door with their roster. Does that also give you an advantage, just being around guys that you've known for a long time now?
Definitely. I feel like our chemistry is really good. We've been around each other for so long. We have such close bonds, and I think it'll show in the playoffs when it's team baseball. So I think we'll do really well.
A lot of people have been naming you probably the most underrated bat in the East Division. You have Joe Oyama, you have Chavis Bazana, Cam Smith in the league as well. But you had sneakily a really great season. You led the team in batting average as well. I know you and Joe are best friends from summer ball last year. You kept in touch. Did you get a little shot at him that you're above him in batting average in the regular season?
Yeah, I let him know definitely after the last game. I knew it was going to be close because I had a good game in our last game, and then I saw that I was a little higher. So I talked to him a little bit, but he's got me in every other stat, so that was the one thing I could hold on to was batting average.
That's pretty good. Firebirds are 2 360 or above hitters in the batting average category. Matt Hallback on the pregame show. Back to you, Ian.
That was Dylan with UC San Diego infielder and Cape Cod Baseball League All-Star Matt Hallback. Matt with 3 hits 2 nights ago against the Harwich Mariners. He's hitting over 400 since the All-Star break, trying to continue the good times tonight from Red Wilson Field in Yarmouth. We're just a few minutes away from first pitch between the Red Sox and the Firebirds as we're closing up shop on cooling down. And Dylan, somebody that Orleans hopes has cooled down, the starting pitcher today for YD, Jason Doktorzik. When these 2 teams played each other on the 24th and YD won, Doktorzik was sensational.
He was, and he started right away. He was pounding the zone with the fastball so much that he had a 9-pitch first inning, which included 3 strikeouts, an immaculate inning for Doktorzik. he'll look to do it again because YD needs length from their starting pitching.
Doc Torzik in his last start on the 31st of July against Chatham, 4 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, trying to bounce back against a team that he knows well. We'll go to the national anthem and be back in a few from Red Wilson Field. Game 1 of the East Division Championship on the line.
And theaters throughout Cape Cod. Please welcome Zach Johnson for the singing of our national anthem.
Rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We're ready for first pitch from Merrill Red Wilson Field in Yarmouth. Game 1 of the East Division Championship on the line in the Cape Cod Baseball League. It's the Orleans Firebirds traveling to the Yarmouth-Dennis Red Sox. Orleans to bat first and Dillon the 1 through 9 for manager Kelly Nicholson.
Well, it all starts off with Joe Oyama, the left-handed hitter out of UC Irvine, getting ready to go. Justin Rubin bats second, heading to Pepperdine in the fall. Jack Penny, Matt Hallback, and Eddie Micheletti Jr. 3 to 5 in the order. Eddie King plays center field. He's batting sixth. Brandon Stallman at third, bats seventh. Henry Hunter does the catching, batting eighth. And Jake Casey gets in today in that 9-hole, playing right field.
Leading off, Dylan Joe Oyama, the MVP contender in the Cape Cod Baseball League this year. He's only got 4 hits in his last 5 games. Now, the team's been able to win without Joe Oyama being the sensational Joe Oyama, but what does he need to do to get back on track and be the top man in this offense?
Well, I think nothing has really changed a lot with Joe. Like you said, 4 hits in his last 5. It's not like it's an 0 for 15 type of slump, but you'd like to see the top man in the order get things going for the Firebirds that have really depended on the middle of their order to get them going in this first series against Harwich. Now here against YD, definitely a tougher team with more pitching, especially depth-wise. You want Oyama to try to draw out some longer at-bats, try to get some more walks, get on base, and use his speed. That is what would be so important, and then hopefully the doubles and the triples and maybe even a home run would come.
Oyama with 5 home runs on the year, all of them in the month of July, none since the postseason started late last week. Firebirds wearing their black vest jerseys this afternoon, an early 4 o'clock start from Red Wilson Field, a field that does not have any lights. The black vest jerseys for Orleans with the white lettering, red trim, white pants, red undershirts, and black helmets. Meanwhile, For YD, the all-white jerseys with red lettering, navy blue trim, and all red caps. The defensive alignment for Scott Pickler's crew includes Jason Doktorzik from Nevada on the mound, Ryan Stafford from Cal Poly behind the plate, Xander Darby from UC Santa Barbara at first, All-Star Brady Day from Kansas State at second, Theo Hardy from San Jose State at third, and Ryan Jackson at USC at shortstop. The outfield from left to right, Casey Cook from North Carolina, Skylar King from West Virginia, and Braden Montgomery currently in the transfer portal after 2 all Pac-12 conference selection seasons with Stanford. It all starts, though, with the player we just talked about, Joe Oyama. The left-handed 5'7", 170-pound rising senior from UC Irvine. Game 1, East Division Championship on a cloudy Monday afternoon from Red Wilson Field. Jason Doktorzik, his first pitch, popped up in the air, shallow left field. On the infield, Ryan Jackson, the shortstop, makes the catch right at his face. 1 up, 1 down off 1 pitch. Oyama pops out to short. And here comes Justin Rubin, the designated hitter.
You always want to jump on a pitch that you think you can get to. Doktorzik, in that immaculate inning back on July 24th, threw all fastballs in that first inning. We'll see if he continues the trend today.
The right-handed Doktorzik now faces the right-handed Justin Rubin. His pitch in for a strike, 0-1. You mentioned it, an immaculate inning for Doktorzik. He went 6 scoreless back on the 24th of July in a 5-0 win for YD right here from Red Wilson Field. He struck out 7, didn't walk anybody. No balls in a strike. He's ahead of a Philadelphia native. And he misses upstairs. Stafford can't glove it. A ball and a strike. With nobody on and 1 out after Joe Oyama popped out to short to start this game. Still scoreless in the top of the first. Had some rain throughout the afternoon here from Yarmouth, but it is cooled down. A little foggy here from field level. Doktorzik, the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball misses. Rubin likes what he sees, and he gets ahead in a count 2-1. You mentioned this YD pitching staff and just how good they've been this summer. The only team in the Cape Cod Baseball League to have a sub-4 ERA on the year. 2 balls and a strike. Doktorzik winds and deals. Check swing from Rubin. Did he go? First base umpire says no. That's John Budka who makes the call from first base, and Rubin takes his 3rd straight ball and is ahead 3-1.
Justin Rubin has some of the greatest plate discipline we've seen on this Firebirds team, which is interesting to say because there's a lot of guys with great plate discipline. He will not expand.
On the 3-1 pitch, Rubin launches it in the left field. Coming up is Casey Cook. He dives and makes the catch. Loses his hat and everything. The UNC outfielder made a highlight reel play in the 7th inning of yesterday's game against Brewster, and the Tar Heel continues to do great things in left field as he records the 2nd out of his 1st inning.
More good contact by the Firebirds that doesn't fall. Good catch by Cook, who made a really nice catch in yesterday's Game 3, right by the bullpen of YD, which is along the 3rd base side, crashed into the fence to make the play.
Jack Penny, the all-star, at the plate with the bases clear and 2 out. Still 0-0 in the top of the 1st. He takes a ball as Doktorzik's 91-mile-an-hour fastball misses low, 1-0. Penny with RBIs in each of Orleans' first 2 playoff games, both wins against Harwich. The 1-0 offering is fouled away over the backstop, 1-1. The 6-foot Penny just finished up his sophomore season in Notre Dame and has been one of the most dependable bats in the Orleans order this summer. Had the walk-off RBI single in Game 1 of the East Division semifinals 3 days ago. The 1-1 pitch. Misses outside of a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Penny gets ahead 2-1. The shift on for YD. 3 infielders to the right side of second base. The second baseman playing in the outfield grass. That being Brady Day. The 2-1 pitch is launched in the shallow center field and down in the gap for a base hit. Orleans' his first hit of the afternoon, and it comes from who else but Jack Penny. A 2-out single, first base runner for the Birds. Still scoreless in the top of the 1st.
Jack Penny had 3 hits in the 2-game series against Harwich. 2 of them, one a walk-off and one an RBI single in the 9th inning of Game 2, coming up with big hits consistently for the Firebirds all season.
And whenever he hits the ball, he usually hits it pretty hard. That one 96 miles an hour off the bat. Matt Hallback, the right-handed first baseman of a plate, trying to drive in the first run of a game. 1 on 2 out. Doktorczyk lets it fly, and his pitch in for a strike with the off-speed offering, 0-1.
If Doktorczyk is going to be successful today, he cannot just remain a fastball pitcher. He has 3 other pitches, a changeup, a curveball, and a slider. Those other 3 off-speed pitches have to be working.
The 6'6", 230-pound pitcher doesn't throw it in Hallback's direction. Instead, he checks in on Penny, who slides in headfirst to first base. Penny hasn't stolen a base this season and probably isn't looking to steal a bag with 2 outs in the top of the first in such an important game. Game 1 of the East Division Championship. Orleans trying to get back to the championship series for the first time in a decade. The 0-1 swung through and missed. Goes to the fastball there at 90 miles an hour, and Doktorczyk gets ahead 0-2 on Hallback.
Velocity is not something the Firebirds have not faced this even playoff series. They were facing 95, 96 out of some Harwich relievers. Not at just 90 from Doktorczyk.
Although he doesn't throw the hardest. 7 strikeouts back on July 24th for Doktorczyk in 6 innings against Orleans. No balls, 2 strikes. He lets it fly. In for strike 3 looking. Hallback goes down on 3 pitches. Doktorczyk goes to the fastball and gets his first strikeout of today's game. Jack Penny stranded on first. It's scoreless. After the top of the first, we go to the bottom of the inning right here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Right back on the Birds Broadcast Network here from Red Wilson Field. A cloudy, windy afternoon. A quick top of the first inning. Doktorczyk goes 1, 2, 3, 4 and leaves Jack Penny stranded after a 2-out single. Evan Truitt, Dylan, the rising junior from Charleston Southern, trying to have a similar productive outing. He hasn't pitched a lot as of late. Orleans trying to manage him because they know he can give them a really good start here in the postseason.
Yes, he can. He's one of the only day 1 guys here with the Firebirds in terms of the pitching staff. He's been here ever since June 14th, making his first start at Wareham. For Truitt tonight, it's going to be a little bit of a different pitch repertoire from what Grayson Carter brings you. 90 to 91 with the fastball, along with a 2-seamer, a slider, and a changeup. Also 4 pitches for Truitt, just like Doktorczyk. He pitched 1 inning against Chatham back 5 days ago because, like you said, he threw a lot of innings at Charleston Southern, upwards of 70 innings, and then now almost has 30 here this summer. Now it's all about letting it go. It's probably his last start, maybe his last appearance as a Firebird. 3 to 4 innings, maybe even 5 if he's being efficient and getting outs.
As you mentioned, Truitt, his arms got to feel a little bit tired after throwing 68 innings at Charleston Southern in his sophomore season. He's thrown just over 29 innings across 9 appearances and 8 starts for Orleans this summer. It's the first time he faces Yarmouth-Dennis. That means it's the first time he faces one of their latest additions, the rising sophomore center fielder from West Virginia, Skylar King. King, a left-handed bat, to face the right-handed pitcher who stands at 5'11", 185 pounds. Still scoreless here in the bottom of the first inning. Truitt's first pitch, fouled away. King goes behind 0-1. He's brought great athleticism to the top of this order for 25th-year manager Scott Pickler, and also an expert in laying down bunts. No balls in a strike. He'll take strike 2 looking. The fastball in for Truitt. He gets ahead 0-2.
Truitt works well against lefties with the fastball outside and then a changeup low to get him swinging over.
Foul, chopped down the right field side for King. He stays behind 0-2. He's 3 for 10 so far for 3 playoff games for YD. And he's driven in a run. Base is empty, nobody out. The 0-2 pitch, cracked right towards Jack Penny. It's short. His throw to first with plenty of time to spare over to Matt Hallback for the first out of the bottom of the first inning. Looking at the rest of the defense for Orleans, behind the dish is Henry Hunter from the University of Georgia. Matt Hallback is at first base from UC San Diego. Joe Oyama from UC Irvine at second. Brandon Stallman from UNC Charlotte at third. Jack Penny, the shortstop from Notre Dame, rounds out the infield. Ryan Jackson, the shortstop from USC, the right-handed batter at the plate. Truitt's pitch, in for a strike, 0-1. The outfield left to right for Orleans includes Eddie Micheletti Jr. in left, Eddie King Jr. in center, and Jay Casey in right. The 0-1 pitch, up and in, it misses. 1-1 to Jackson.
A lot of fastballs so far by Evan Truitt, who's running it up there, 91, 92, 93.
The 1-1 offering, a fastball that misses low of his own. Truitt goes behind 2-1. One of Charleston Southern's best options in the spring was Truitt, with a 4.6 ERA, won the Buccaneers' Best Pitcher Award. The 2-1 popped up and out of a ballpark towards the right field side, behind the bleachers, and an even 2-2 count to Jackson.
Truitt all season has been attacking hitters. Not one to walk a lot. Only 8 walks in almost 30 innings here with the Firebirds.
The 2-2 pitch is chopped towards Hallback at first. He gloves it on the dirt, trots over to the bag, gets the force out. Good starts for both Jason Doktorzik and Ryan Jackson. Or rather, Evan Truitt. That's 2 away with nobody on here in the bottom of the first, still 0-0.
And we talked about Matt Hallback, and I talked to him on the pregame show as well. Defense wins in these playoff games. If you make one error or one mistake, it can cost you. It costed Harwich the other night in Game 2.
Game that Harwich ended up losing 4-2. Truitt's first pitch to Braden Montgomery, the right fielder, a strike to the switch hitter batting lefty against the right-handed Truitt, 0-1. Montgomery, the two-way star, originally from Stanford. The 0-1 to him is cranked to right field, but caught. Backpedaling and making the snag is Jake Casey. Evan Truitt goes 1-2-3 on only 11 pitches in the first inning. Keeps it scoreless after 1 from Red Wilson Field in Game 1 of the East Division Championship. We go to the top of the second on the Birds Broadcast Network. Both starting pitchers extremely efficient in the first inning. Jason Doktorzik for Yarmouth-Dennis only took him 13 pitches to get through 4 batters. Left Jack Penny stranded on first after his 2-out single. He now faces 5, 6, and 7 in the Orleans order, starting with a left fielder who spent his first 3 years at George Washington, now transferring to Virginia Tech, Eddie Micheletti Jr. Doktorzik, the 6'6", 230-pound right-handed pitcher, originally from Seal Beach, California. Spent the first year of his collegiate career at Sonoma State, a Division II school just outside of San Francisco. Transferred to the University of Nevada this past spring, where he just finished up his sophomore year. The right-handed pitcher deals to the southpaw, and Micheletti takes a strike on the outer half, 0-1.
The fastball is what's winning right now for Doktorzik. The Firebirds have to be a little bit more aggressive when he's throwing the heater.
Doktorzik, the 0-1. Another heater, this one up in the zone. Micheletti gets a piece of it, sends it to the backstop, and goes behind 0-2. Orleans would not have won Game 2 against Harwich 2 days ago if it wasn't for Micheletti. The Delaware native drove in 2 of the Birds' 4 runs. No balls and 2 strikes. Doktorczyk lets it fly and misses. Another fastball, this one at 92 miles an hour. Still ahead in the count, 1-2. He misses outside.
Micheletti, one of the more disciplined players on this team.
Doktorczyk, the 1-2 offering. Breaking ball, a miss. Low and away to even the count, 2-2. Micheletti's discipline has led to results as of late. He's driven in 8 runs over the Firebirds' last 4 games. Top 10 in the league in RBI. Doktorczyk, his 2-2 pitch. A third straight miss on the outside corner. 3-2. Micheletti has worked his way ahead in the count, trying to put the first base runner on board to lead off the inning. Doktorczyk set. His payoff pitch. Upstairs, ball 4. The fastball misses for Doktorczyk. He was ahead 0-2, but there's that discipline, Dylan. 4 straight balls and a leadoff walk for Eddie Micheletti.
Back on that July 24th start, Doktorczyk had no walks. That was an incredible at-bat by Micheletti. Laid off 4 really close pitches and now gets on to lead off the inning.
Doktorczyk, only the 13th walk he's handed out in just under 30 innings this summer. He now faces the right-handed center fielder, Eddie King Jr., who looks at the first pitch and takes it for a ball. That's now 5 straight balls thrown by the California native on the mound. That curveball missing just inside. Eddie King Jr. heading into his redshirt sophomore season at the University of Louisville. Ahead in a count, 1-0. Doktorczyk deals. King checks swing. First base umpire John Buca says he held up. 2-0. That's another ball, 6 straight, thrown by Doktorczyk. 20 pitches in, 10 balls, 10 strikes. His latest pitch missing just high with the fastball. 0-0 game, top of the second. The go-ahead run on first. Eddie Micheletti Jr. The 2-0 offering. A strike. Another fastball. This one inside the King. Still ahead 2-1. Put Orleans in front in Game 2 of the East Division semifinals with a sac fly to right field from White House Field, which put Orleans in front 3-2 in the top of the 8th. Doktorczyk the 2-1. Breaking ball is launched down the right field line and out of a park foul. 2-2.
Doktorczyk seems a little bit hesitant to use his off-speed pitches right now. It's a lot of fastballs the first time around against the Firebirds order.
Micheletti on first. He reached after Doktorczyk handed out 4 straight balls. The count started with him ahead 0-2. This count 2-2. The pitch popped up and out of play once again towards the right side and behind the bleachers from Red Wilson Field. Not as big a crowd today as it was yesterday for Game 3 of the East Division semifinals between YD and Brewster. It's probably because it's 73 degrees and cloudy on a bit of a gloomy day from Yarmouth. 0-0, top 2. Eddie Micheletti takes his lead off first. Doktorczyk still looking for the sign from the catcher from Cal Poly, Ryan Stafford. Holding the glove towards his left ear. Now he puts it at the belt. His 2-2 to King. Misses outside, ball 3. Another good at bat from Orleans.
And that's what they need to do. YD needs length out of Doktorczyk today after a hard-fought 3-game series against Brewster. No off days between. They played Game 3 yesterday. They played Game 1 today. They need length from their starter. If the Firebirds can continue to drive up pitch count, that'll be great.
Doktorczyk a ball away from handing out his second free pass. His 3-2 pitch misses low and in. Ball 4. A pair of full count walks for Orleans. The pitch count continues to climb for Doktorczyk. He's now thrown 26 pitches in just an inning and has issued 2 straight walks here in the top of the second to Eddie Micheletti Jr. and Eddie King Jr. Here comes the left-handed third baseman, Brandon Stallman, of the plate.
It's an interesting decision here, Ian, because, like you said, Doc Torzik has issued 2 straight walks, but also you have 2 on with nobody out in a playoff game on the road. Do you bunt to move the runners over, or do you let Stallman hit and hope Doc Torzik can't find the zone anymore?
Doc Torzik had only handed out 2 walks in his previous 10 innings pitched. He started his final 2 appearances of the regular season after coming out of a bullpen for YD in his first 6. Runners on first and second, nobody out, 0-0 top 2. Brandon Stallman, the first pitch he sees, it misses outside. It's another ball. 1-0. You got to think Orleans thinking just like they did on August 1st when they played YD and Braden Montgomery was on the mound. If he's not going to throw strikes, you have to stay disciplined at the plate.
Make Doc Torzik throw it in the zone. That was a changeup. He can't find the fastball. Can he find some off-speed offerings?
A changeup that misses outside of the lefty Stallman. Ahead 1-0. He swings, tried to hold it back behind home plate, but couldn't. Now 1-1, the rising senior from UNC Charlotte. Stallman, one of the latest additions to the Firebirds, joined the team in mid-July. Spent last year in the Coastal Plains League with the High Point Thomasville High Toms and had a terrific first season with the Charlotte 49ers, who made an NCAA regional. First and second, nobody out. Scoreless, top 2. Doc Torzik's 1-1, fouled away. It clanks off the lower part of the backstop. 1-1.
Now 3 pitches in this at-bat between Stallman and Doc Torzik. Not a fastball yet. After 2 heavy fastball counts between Eddie Micheletti and Eddie King, he lost those 2 to walks. A lot of off-speed here to Brandon Stallman.
Doc Torzik trying to adjust on the fly with his deeper pitch mix. Like you said, he throws 4 different pitches. The righty takes a deep breath and fires in the 1-2. Stallman puts it on the ground towards short. Fielded by Jackson. He steps on second. His throw to first in time. A 6-3 double play that allows Eddie Micheletti Jr. to move over to third, but both Eddie King Jr. and Brandon Stallman forced out. Henry Hunter to the plate.
A frustrating result there for Brandon Stallman, because you saw he put a good wood, 96 off the bat, on a fastball that he finally got in a 1-2 count. Sadly, it was on the ground right up the middle where the middle infielders were playing in double play depth.
Doc Torzik gets exactly what he needs, and he goes back to another off-speed pitch to get that result out of Brandon Stallman. But Orleans can still pull ahead. Eddie Micheletti on third. Henry Hunter, the left-handed catcher. He takes his strike. Doc Torzik goes back to the fastball and paints it high in the zone. 0-1. Hunter, born and raised just outside Atlanta, spent his first 2 collegiate seasons at Alabama, Birmingham, transferring to the University of Georgia in the spring. Doc Torzik, the 0-1. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Going back to the changeup there outside.
With the runner on third, you have to keep that in mind as well. Talking about balls in the dirt. Stafford, the catcher, a big backstop here in Yarmouth as well, with Micheletti on third.
1 runner on, 2 out. No balls, 2 strikes. The pitch. Outside, ball 1. The fastball just misses for Doc Torzik. A good take from Hunter, who in the last time he was here from Red Wilson Field was unbelievable. He reached all 5 times up, including 4 walks, and drove in 3 runs in an 11-4 win for Orleans 6 days ago. The 1-2. Hunter chops it foul right past the Yarmouth-Dennis dugout on the left side of the field. Still 1-2. Micheletti on third. Got on with a walk. Moved to second on another walk from Eddie King Jr. and made it to the hot corner after a double play. Still a scoreless game, top of the second inning. Doc Torzik set his 1-2. Is launched through the hole in the right field for a hit. Eddie Micheletti scores, and Henry Hunter makes it 1-0 Orleans in the top of the second. The shift was on for YD, playing in the outfield grass with second baseman Brady Day. He stopped it, but had no play to make as he lunged towards second base in the grass.
And we've talked about it, 1 through 9 in this order. Everyone has come through in some sort of way. Right there, Henry Hunter puts it in play after a really good at-bat as well. Taking a fastball outside 0-2, fouling off a few pitches, then puts good contact on the 1-2 pitch.
The bottom man in the order up to bat, and Jake Casey, the rising junior from Kent State, with a whiff. He goes behind 0-1. Henry Hunter, who has not been one of the bigger names when you talk about offensive production for this Orleans team this summer, has now driven in 4 runs in his last 2 games against the #1 team in the East Division. 1-0 Birds, top 2, thanks to his RBI single. The 0-1, Casey, another whiff. Falls behind 0-2.
Casey can at times have trouble with the slider, but now with 2 strikes, you have to choke up and realize that you haven't seen the fastball yet. Always gear for the fastball, adjust for the off speed.
Casey, somebody who can mash fastballs. 3 home runs on the year. 1 on, 2 out, the 0-2. Casey looks at ball 1. It was a fastball, but it missed outside. 1-2. Just finished up his sophomore season with the Golden Flashes, originally from Pittsburgh. Casey, his first start for the Firebirds since the second to last game of the regular season, which was here against YD. Runner on first is Henry Hunter. The 1-2. High in the air to left center field. Towards his right, making a catch. Skylar King right in front of the wall. Runner stranded on first. It's Henry Hunter, but not before he hits one deep into the hole at second base and scores a run. Eddie Micheletti Jr. scores, and it's 1-0 Orleans in Game 1 of the East Division Championship. YD looks for an answer in the bottom of the second on the Birds Broadcast Network. The Firebirds on the board first after an RBI single from Henry Hunter in the top of the inning on a foggy Monday afternoon from Red Wilson Field. Evan Truitt, really good in the first inning. 1-2-3 against the top of the order for YD. But now the Charleston Southern Buccaneer faces one of the toughest outs in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and the Mississippi State megastar, Hunter Hines. Hines, the league leader in both home runs and RBI, batting from the left side against the right-handed Truitt, whose first pitch of the inning is chopped on the ground towards first base, foul. 0-1.
Truitt was very aggressive with his fastballs in the first inning. Continue with that. Also make sure you're throwing a lot of strikes like you did in the first.
The 0-1 misses low. Started with the fastball, now goes off speed. An even count, 1-1. Hines has been quiet in the playoffs. A little dinged up. He's played in 3 games, had only 2 at-bats. He pops up the third pitch of his at-bat, and it's out of play into the bleachers along left field, 1-2. He's taken just 2 at-bats through 3 games. That's because most of his at-bats have ended in walks, 3 of them intentional in the 3 games played against the Brewster Whitecaps. Nobody wants to see Hunter Hines beat them right now. The infield shifted for Hines, 3 to the right side of second base. The 1-2 misses low and away to the lefty. He evens the count 2-2.
And if you're Truitt, how do you go against a big lefty like him who likes to lift the ball? A high fastball at his chest.
Truitt kicks, deals for 2-2. Foul ball. A laser down the first base side. It stays 2-2. Truitt with the 80-mile-an-hour offering. Doesn't go to the high fastball.
In this YD order, you're worrying about a lot of hitters. But the 2 are Montgomery, who smacked it in the first for an out, and this guy.
The 2-2. Be worried no more. At least that's not what third base umpire Jeff Merzell would say. A check swing that he held up Hunter Hines to take ball 3. Truitt's pitch on the outside corner. Not for strike 3. Full count to the Mississippi native. The 3-2. Swing and a miss. Truitt gets it done on the next pitch and dials it all the way up to 95 miles an hour. When you need to get the big out of a cleanup batter, you got to kick it to another gear. And Truitt does for his first strikeout of the game.
That might be the fastest we've seen Truitt throw this summer as well. He was always around 92, 93. This is how you know it's a playoff game, Ian. He gets the rest in the last 10 days, comes out firing with his best stuff.
Tries to bring it once again against the catcher Ryan Stafford. Misses upstairs with the breaking ball, 1-0. Stafford from Cal Poly. Batting from the right side against the right-handed Truitt. The 1-0. Misses low, 2-0. Back-to-back off-speed pitches from Truitt, who steps off the mound, readjusts his hat, and trots right back on. Bases empty, 1 out. 1-0 Orleans after an RBI single from Henry Hunter in the top of the inning. The 2-0 pitch. Misses outside, 3 balls, no strikes. The fastball doesn't get the call from the home plate umpire, who is David Martinez. Red Sox still without a hit. The 3-0. In for a strike, up and in, 3-1. 94 on the fastball there.
Just like last night, without a hit through 6 for YD.
The 3-1. High for ball 4. After his first strikeout of the game, Truitt gives out his first walk of the game. A 5-pitch, 1-out walk for Stafford. And it's the first base runner for YD here in the bottom of the second.
In Tuesday's game, last Tuesday, where the Firebirds won 11-4, Stafford was one of the few Red Sox that had a great day. 4 for 5 with 2 doubles as well. Not a bad walk, but now you have to throw strikes.
1 runner on, 1 out. 1-0 Orleans. Brady Day, the left-handed bat from Kansas State, takes the ball. 1-0. Only 2 hits yesterday against Brewster in Game 3 of the East Division semifinals. 1 off a bunt, 1 off a home run in the 8th inning from Theo Hardy, which made the difference in a 4-3 game. The 1-0. Runner goes. Henry Hunter, after a swing and miss, throws to second and has Ryan Stafford dead to rights. Some catcher-on-catcher crime. Henry Hunter throws out Ryan Stafford for out number 2.
That was a great pitch to throw on as well. Day swung and missed. Then you had Hunter throwing right on the money to Jack Penny. He was out by 5 feet, Stafford was.
The 1-1. Another fastball from Truitt up to 94, but it misses for ball 2.
It's a smaller zone today. A lot of fastballs that are around the plate, not getting called for both sides.
Bases clear, 2 out. 1-0 Orleans, bottom 2. Truitt's 2-1. Day sends one high and deep to right. Jake Casey looks up, and it's gone. Brady Day, the all-star, with only his 2nd home run of the summer, but by far his most important. With 2 outs in the bottom of the 2nd, he ties the game at 1.
Just one too many fastballs there from Truitt, and that one went 370 over the right field fence. A strong home run, one that YD needed for their first hit of the day, and they tie it up.
It goes 370 feet to right, and from Red Wilson Field, that is way gone. If it was White House Field, that's a flyout. Or at least that's what it felt like.
Ask Eddie King.
It went 376 feet for a sac fly in the top of the 8th inning in the Game 2 win against Harwich. A ball and no strikes is Xander Darby. The 2nd pitch, he loops down the left field line, but it drops foul into the glove of Orleans left fielder Eddie Micheletti Jr. to end the inning. In the YD dugout, which is in the foul territory side of left field here from YD, Eddie Micheletti makes a great play to end another good inning for Evan Truitt, but One mistake, a fastball at 94 miles an hour that is smoked to right field by Brady Day to tie this game at 1. We'll go to the top of the third on the Birds Broadcast Network.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm Sammy Miller. The game is currently tied 1-1 heading to the top of the third. Now, there are many characteristics of this team that makes them a special bunch, one of the most important being their work ethic. Even though yesterday was an off day, these players still went to Eldridge Park and were putting in the work in order to be as prepared as possible for today. The position players were in the cages working on their swing as well as cleaning up their defense to try to eliminate as many errors as possible. The pitchers also were putting in the work by adding to their pitching arsenal and going over the fundamentals. When you have a group that's willing to come in on an off day that is so close to the season coming to an end, that's when you know you have a group that is different from the rest. A lot of teams say they want to win it all but aren't willing to put in the work. Orleans doesn't operate that way. They say they want to win it all and they back it up with all the work they put in. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Sammy. Orleans trying to win it all for the first time since 2005. Trying to get back to the championship series for the first time since 2013. Back to the top of the order, it's Joe Oyama who squares to bunt and can't get a piece of it. Doc Torzik misses high with the fastball and goes behind 1-0, back on the mound for his third inning of work. Oyama went down on just one pitch in the first inning. He popped up to the shortstop, and the shift now on for the UC Irvine prodigy. He takes a strike, another curveball from Doc Torzik on the outer half to make the count 1-1. Three infielders shaded towards the right side of second base, including the shortstop, Ryan Jackson. All of them playing in the dirt. The 1-1. Misses upstairs for ball 2. The third baseman as well, Theo Hardy, playing in the grass. A lot of teams have tried to limit what Joe Oyama can do all summer. As of late, 4 hits in his last 6 games. The 2-1 from Doc Torzik. Fouled high and over the backstop, 2-2.
At times for Oyama, what can really get to him? It's the fastball, high in the zone. He's trying to combat that by starting a little bit earlier in his swing.
4 for 23. An up and down stretch for Joe Oyama as of late. The 2-2. Breaking ball, called strike 3. Doc Torzik goes to the curve and gets his second strikeout of the game and his first of a leadoff man, Joe Oyama. Bases empty, 1 out, still knotted up at 1 in the top of the third.
That was a borderline pitch Oyama took. Could have been a ball, could have been a strike, but a good curveball from Doc Torzik breaks that out. We haven't seen that too often tonight.
Justin Rubin, 0 for 1 with a line out to left field. The righty takes a fastball in for a strike, 1-0. Back to the fastball goes Doc Torzik. Orleans got its first run on the board last inning, thanks to an RBI single from Henry Hunter. The 1-1 in for a strike to even the count. Rubin steps back in. Originally from outside of Philadelphia, transferring to Pepperdine out in California after 2 years at Virginia. Doc Torzik set his 1-1 offering. In for a strike, 1-2. Right on the lower third of his own. Rubin so productive since joining this team in the start of July. He's reaching 18 of 19 games and played a big part in Orleans' Game 1 win against Harwich a few days ago. The 1-2 misses low and in. It gets by the glove of Stafford for ball 2. Rubin an infield single in the bottom of the 9th that tied the game. Eddie King scored against Harwich on Friday. And then Jack Penny, who's on deck, walked it off with a single in a right field to take the 1-0 series lead against the Mariners. Doc Torzik for 2-2. Popped up and out of the ballpark. Towards the right field to play.
Another long at-bat from Orleans. This time it's Justin Rubin, who smacked the ball to left in his first at-bat, upwards of 90 miles per hour off his bat.
A diving catch from Casey Cook to secure the lineout. 50 pitches for Doc Torzik. Here it is. This one on the ground towards the middle of the infield. Glove by the shortstop Jackson. His throw in time. Over to Xander Darby at first. 1 away. 2 away, rather.
More good contact, but another fastball that eats up a Firebirds hitter. Rubin a little bit late on it, put it on the ground. The Firebirds have to find a way to lift the fastball. So far tonight, it's been a lot of balls on the ground from the heater from Doc Torzik.
Jack Penny. He's been lifting the ball up early and often. 2 RBI in his last 2 games in the playoffs. Swings at the first pitch. An off-speed offering. Tipped into the glove of Ryan Stafford off the bat of Penny. The lefty goes behind 0-1. The shift back on for YD. 3 infielders to the right side of second base. Brady Day playing deep in the outfield grass and right. The 0-1. Ball 1. A ball and a strike to Penny.
It's an interesting shift for YD because Penny has shown time and time again to go to the opposite field this year.
Testing the Wakefield, Massachusetts native. The 1-1 cut through and missed. 1-2. Doc Torzik back to the off-speed pitch. There's absolutely nobody lined up along the left side of the field for YD in the infield. A 1-2 count with 2 out, tied at 1. Top of the third. Doc Torzik lets it fly and sends one deep to left. Backing up, Casey Cook at the wall. It's off the wall. Penny to second with a stand-up double. YD didn't think Penny could hit the ball the other way. Well, he does, and he sends it deep off the wall and left. 374 feet in his second hit of the game.
Penny goes the other way with a high fastball and almost gets it out right off almost the top of the wall where the yellow guardrail is. So close to a home run for him. Now he's in scoring position with 2 outs.
Penny, his 4th double of the year. And it brings up Matt Hallback, who ended the first inning, went down looking with a strikeout, but before he sees a pitch from Doc Torzik, Ryan Stafford hops in front of the plate, gets a message from the YD dugout. Matt Hallback has been intentionally walked. That's the first time Hallback has gotten that treatment this summer. But with the way he's swinging the bat, 3 or more hits in 3 of his last 4 games, he's earned it.
100%, but then you have Eddie Micheletti up next, who walked the first time up. This is not an order that YD should be intentionally walking against, but the Firebirds will take it, and hopefully Micheletti can come up big like he did in the first series.
2 RBI 2 days ago against Harwich to advance to right here. Doc Torzik deals. Fouled away on the first pitch. Micheletti goes behind 0-1. He walked in his first at bat last inning. Scored on the RBI single from Henry Hunter. Jack Penny on second after his double off the wall to left. Hallback just intentionally walked, giving him the Hunter Hines treatment. Somebody who's been intentionally walked already 3 times in 3 playoff games. No balls and a strike. Doc Torzik deals. Stafford fakes the throw to second. That was a ball. 1-1 the count now to Micheletti, and Jack Penny still at second base.
With the shortstop Jackson covering second base, there's a huge hole on the left side of the infield if Micheletti can go the other way. Penny with good speed on second.
2 runners on, 2 out, tied at 1, top 3. Doc Torzik gives Penny a couple looks. His 1-1 pitch misses low for ball 2. The off-speed offering has Doc Torzik behind, 2 balls and a strike. And his 3rd consecutive start for YD. gave up 3 earned runs off 2 home runs in 4 innings pitched a week ago today in a late season loss to the Chatham A's. Went 6 scoreless on a start against Orleans in the middle of July. The 2-1. Swung through it and missed. 2-2. A low off-speed pitch. The count now even to Micheletti with 2 outs.
That's a huge pitch by Doc Torzik. Would have been 3-1 if Micheletti could lay off, but a slider that was just too tantalizing to not swing.
First and second, 2 out. The go-ahead run in scoring position for Orleans. Tied at 1, top 3. Doc Torzik's 2-2 is launched towards second. Day fields it and throws it in time, the first. Orleans leaves 2 stranded. Doc Torzik, with now over 50 pitches, nearly 60 pitches through 3 innings, works out of the jam, keeps it tied at 1. We go to the bottom of the third. Stay tuned right here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Right back on the Birds Broadcast Network in the bottom of the third. Appreciate you tuning in for Game 1 of the East Division Championship between the Yarmouth-Dennis Red Sox, who host the Orleans Firebirds. Still tied at 1. Orleans leaves 2 stranded into the top of the inning. Evan Truitt trying to keep it where it is against 8, 9, and 1 in the YD order. It starts with Casey Cook. The right-handed left fielder swings at the first pitch. This ball dropping in the shallow center field. A leadoff single for the UNC Tar Heel. The second hit for the Red Sox in as many innings. The first, a solo shot to right field from Brady Day.
A blooping single that Truitt made a good pitch on off the end of the bat of Cook and just into no man's land between second and where King was playing. Unlucky for Orleans there.
Bottom man in the order, the hero of yesterday's Game 3 win, Theo Hardy. The switch hitting, third baseman. Batting lefty against the right-handed Truitt, who misses low and goes behind 1-0 against the San Jose State product. Hardy, his solo shot to right field in the 8th inning of yesterday's win against Brewster. Broke a 3-3 tie in the bottom of the 8th and did the trick. Truitt checks in on the runner at first, Cook, who slides in safely to the bag.
A few base runners for YD in these first few innings. In the second, he had 2 runners, 1 cut off by a caught stealing and 1 the home run. Truitt needs a ground ball here.
Is 1-0 on the ground, but through the 4-3-4 hole for a hit. Making his way to third at full speed is Casey Cook. He's in there standing up. Back-to-back singles for YD. Theo Hardy reaches. Third hit of the game for the Red Sox, who have runners on the corners with nobody out. And the top of the order due up with Skylar King.
That one a little bit more hard hit. Why did it get through? Because Hallback had to cover first base. If not, that would have been exactly where he would have been playing for a double play. With a runner on, it opens up a hole.
Henry Hunter gives out the signs and retreats behind the dish. Runners on the corners, nobody out. And YD trying to take its first lead. Tied at 1, bottom 3. Truitt's pitch. Swing and a miss. 0-1. King 0 for 1. He grounded out to short to start this game off. the latest addition to YD's position group. Headed into his sophomore year at West Virginia. Originally from South Carolina. Truitt's 0-1. Misses high. Henry Hunter pops out of his stance and keeps for runners where they're at. Cook on third. Hardy at first. After singles from the 8th and 9th men in the order. For 25th year manager Scott Pickler, the winningest manager in Cape Cod Baseball League history. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1 bottom 3. Truitt's pitch is cracked towards Joe Oyama at second. Underhand flip to second for 1. Penny's tossed to first. Not in time. The run scores. YD takes the lead. Skylar King reaches on a fielder's choice. Casey Cook touches home plate. It's 2-1 YD in the bottom of the third.
Not the worst situation there for Orleans. They get the lead runner at second after Cook comes around to score, and they have to deal with a fast runner in King on first.
1 runner on, 1 out. Ryan Jackson, the right-handed shortstop at the plate, trying to extend the 2-1 lead. Takes the first pitch for a strike, 0-1. Jackson grounded out to Matt Hallback at first. His first time up. Both teams with 3 hits, but YD with 2 runs. 1 last inning off a solo shot from Brady Day and an RBI fielder's choice. Henry Hunter, his throw to first. Sliding in head first and safe is Skylar King. He's got good speed. He's already swiped the bag in the postseason. YD in postseason play has been terrific under Scott Pickler, but has not won a championship since 2016. Ground ball to Jack Penny. It's short. He steps on second. His throw to first in time.
Hallback had the ball come out of his glove. He had it right there. He dropped it. And now the runner gets second. That is a huge swing. A ball that was right in Hallback's glove. He couldn't make the play.
Next up, out of Stanford, number 15.
A rare miscue from the All-Star at first base. A perfect throw from Penny, who stepped on the bag. But his throw to first gets away from Matt Hallback. Now time is called, and pitching coach Jim Lawler makes his way to the mound to talk with Evan Truitt, and so does the catcher Henry Hunter. So the runner on second is Jackson, who reaches on the error, they're calling it, an E3 on Hallback. And because that ball was out of play, Jackson moves over to second base in a scoring position with 2 out for Braden Montgomery, the right fielder.
This is a good mound visit by Jim Lawler. Reset Truitt, reset his mind. He probably should be out of this inning. He should be out of this inning. That was a tailor-made double play ball. Firebirds make an error. They only had 1 in the first series against Harwich. Now, this is a prime situation for YD to take advantage, but also a situation for Orleans to get out of it, only allowing 1.
Evan Truitt's got a little unlucky this season in terms of the defense being played behind him, but he pitches with the same amount of confidence that he does even when things aren't going his way. Orleans chooses to intentionally walk Braden Montgomery. Just a half inning after Matt Hallback was intentionally walked, Montgomery takes a free pass, and that brings up somebody who's already been intentionally walked 3 times in this series alone. The league leader in runs batted in, Hunter Hines. Truitt did strike out Hines just an inning ago as he led off in the second. Runners on first and second, 2 out. Truitt calls for time as he steps off for rubber behind the mound. He gets right back on.
Montgomery did hit the ball hard in the first inning right at Jake Casey. I wouldn't want to face Hines either way.
Here's the pitch to Hines. Swing and a miss. 0-1. Like you said, Montgomery hit a fly ball to right, 103 miles an hour off the bat. Jay Casey made it look easy when it was not. Backpedaling to make a catch ahead of in front of a right field wall. First and second, 2 out, 2-1 YD in the bottom of the third. The 0-1. Hines takes for ball 1. Truitt puts one on the inside corner, but does not get the call from David Martinez behind the plate. Lefty on righty. Hines against Truitt. Jackson Montgomery on base. The 1-1. Swing and miss. 1-2. Truitt gets ahead. He's thrown just over 40 pitches in just under 3 innings on the mound.
That was a nasty changeup by Truitt. If I was him, I'd go right back to it in the dirt. Let Hunter block it, see if Hines chases.
The 1-2 is cranked in the right and in front of Joe Oyama. He throws to first and gets the out. A bit of a dangerous situation. Oyama was playing on the outfield grass from second base, blocked the ball as it bounced in front of him, makes the throw over to Matt Hallback to end the inning and leave 2 base runners stranded for YD. YD is taking the lead 2-1 after 3. We go to the top of the 4th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Top of the 4th on the Birds Broadcast Network. YD has scored runs in each of the last 2 innings to take the 2-1 lead over Orleans in Game 1 of the East Division Championship. Firebirds have had their chances, stranding 4 base runners in the first 3 innings against Jason Doktorczyk. Back on the mound for his 4th inning of work. The righty faces the right-handed center fielder, Eddie King Jr. Doktorzyk's pitch. Inside, it misses 1-0. 61 pitches for Doktorczyk through 3 innings. Eddie King worked a good at-bat against him 2 innings ago with a walk. Well, 1-0. In for a strike, 1-1. The 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Doktorczyk is really going to need a short inning here in terms of pitches. Firebirds would love another 15 to 20 pitch inning, get him up to 80, almost get him out of this game.
Doktorczyk is 1-1. Fouled away over the backstop, 1-2. The second baseman, Brady Day, playing right behind second base, shaded slightly to the left side of the bag, leaving a big hole in the right side of the infield for Eddie King if he could hit it the other way. Behind in the count, 1-2. Pitch on the way home. King sends it high in the air to shallow right field. Underneath it, Braden Montgomery, also Brady Day. Montgomery makes the catch right in front of Day. They communicate well, and that's the first out of the inning.
An off-speed pitch that got Eddie King a little bit out in front. Puts the ball in the air, and Day and Montgomery, like you said, Montgomery took charge. That is his ball as he's coming in right field.
Here comes Brandon Stallman, the left-handed third baseman. Nobody on, 1 out. Doktorzyk's pitch misses outside, 1-0. Montgomery, or rather Stallman, grounded into a 6-3 double play in the second inning, but Orleans wouldn't be held off the board. Henry Hunter drove in the one and only run of his ball game for the Firebirds on an RBI single. The 1-0. In for a strike, 1-1. Gets the call on the outside corner. Base is empty, 1 out. The infield is shifting for YD once again. 3 to the right side of second base. Brady Day playing in shallow right field. Doc Torzik, the 1-1 offering on the way. Stallman a whiff. He goes behind 1 and 2. It's just under 290 during the regular season for Orleans. His biggest moment of a postseason so far, a 9-pitch at bat late in game 1. He was the game-winning run. He reached on a single in the 2-1 win against Harwich. The 1-2 pitch misses outside, ball 2. On that fastball from Doc Torzik. Just under 70 pitches for the California native. He's recorded 7 outs in his 3rd consecutive start for YD. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He lets it rip. Stallman grounds one right into Doc Torzik's glove. His underhand toss to first with some time to spare for the 2nd out of the inning.
Next up, out of Georgia,
Doc Torzik has now retired 3 in a row going back to last inning and continues to keep Firebird hitters off balance with a lot of fastballs.
Fastball heavy to start. Switched it up a bit in the 2nd and 3rd, going back to the fastball here in the 4th inning. Henry Hunter, the left-handed catcher, faced Doc Torzik for the 2nd time. He whiffs at the first pitch and goes behind 0-1. Drove in an RBI single in the 2nd inning. The shift was on for YD, and the shift is back again. Brady Day, the 2nd baseman, once again playing in shallow right field. Swing and a miss again from Hunter. He goes behind 0-2. With 2 out, and the base is clear. Ryan Jackson now playing to the left side of second base. Theo Hardy, the 3rd baseman, playing where Jackson would usually be at 2nd. The 0-2. Weakly grounded towards first and foul. Count stays the same.
A lot of sliders and changeups in this at-bat from Doc Torzik. If Hunter gets a fastball and pushes it to the other way, there's a huge hole, like you said, Ian.
Scott Pickler challenging Orleans to go the other way today. The 0-2. Swing and a miss. Doc Torzik a strikeout to end 4 innings on the mound. It's his 3rd of the game, and he completes 4 innings of 1-run ball. And YD still has the 2-1 lead. We go to the bottom of the 4th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Bottom of the 4th on the Birds Broadcast Network in Game 1 of the East Division Championship. Appreciate you tuning in. Ian Nicolisto and Pescatore on the call. Evan Truitt back on the mound for his 4th inning of work. The Charleston Southern Buccaneer faces 5, 6, and 7 in the YD order, starting with the catcher from Cal Poly, Ryan Stafford, in a righty-on-righty duel. 2-1, YD the lead in the bottom of the 4th. Swing and a miss at the first offering from Truitt here in the 4th inning. Stafford falls behind 0-1. He walked in his first at bat in the second, but stole, or attempted to steal second base, and was thrown out by Henry Hunter. A check swing, and according to the first base umpire John Budka, Stafford didn't go around. So he evens the count 1-1. Truitt lets it rip. Misses low with the off-speed pitch, 2-1. Couple arms getting warm for Orleans in the bullpen. Two left-handed pitchers, Ryan Reeses and Everett Catlett. The 2-1. Fouled right near YD's dugout on the left side of the field, 2-2.
Truitt has to give it his all here. His pitch count's in a really good spot, but continuing on throwing strikes and trying to get through this dangerous YD order.
Truitt's 2-2. Upstairs, ball 3. Stafford works the count full. Leading off for YD in the bottom of the fourth, a team that scored a run apiece off Truitt in each of the last 2 innings. The full count pitch is weakly hit towards Joe Oyama at second. On the run towards his left, he throws to first and gets the out. Joe Oyama with a couple really great plays in a row from second base. That was not an easy play to turn, but he records the putout and the first out of the fourth inning.
Great play by Joe. Goes to his right, continues on a ball off the end of the bat of Stafford for out number 1.
A strike into the left-handed Brady Day, 0-1. The all-star second baseman had a solo shot off Truitt 2 innings ago with 2 outs. And now fouls back the second pitch he sees here 2 innings later and falls behind, no balls, 2 strikes.
You'd love to see how Truitt can get his revenge here. Maybe get through this 4th inning, which would be huge.
Orleans still down a run. The 0-2. Outside, ball 1. Day still behind 1-2. The New Hampshire native. The 1-2 pitch. Fouled on a line, and it dips into the stands and left. Still 1-2. Day was actually drafted to the MLB earlier this summer. In the middle of July, decided to stay here. The 1-2 misses low in the dirt, 2-2. Not often do you see somebody drafted as high as he was, a 12th round selection, and not decide to sign, but he's back. The 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Evan Truitt, like you said, gets his revenge on Brady Day. That's his second strikeout of the game.
Truitt continued to pound the bottom of the zone and even lower with off speed. That was the changeup to get Day. He swings over it.
Truitt's recorded 3 outs in a row, dating back to last inning. Trying to complete 4 innings of 2-run ball. His first pitch to Xander Darby is missed, 0-1. Darby wearing the light blue elbow pad on his right arm and the light blue shin guard on his right leg, representing his school, UC Santa Barbara. He takes the 0-1 pitch low and in to even the count, 1-1. Darby originally from Palo Alto, California. The 1-1. In for a strike, 1-2. Truitt, with under 60 pitches, trying to polish off a second 1-2-3 frame of the game and keep it 2-1 YD. His 1-2 pitch, high in the sky to right field. Jake Casey at the wall, sees it go by. Xander Darby, his 4th home run of the summer. The 2nd home run of the game for YD. And the Red Sox add to the lead, 3-1 in the bottom of the 4th.
Such a switch from 2 straight outs here in the 4th from Truitt. Darby just lifts one to right, and then this bandbox of a field here in Yarmouth that finds its way out. Pretty frustrating as a pitcher, I'd say.
Truitt, the pitcher who certainly has got to feel a little frustrated, misses low to Casey Cook. 1-0. Base is empty, 2 out. Ground ball from Cook, but he fouled it off himself. 1-1 as it made its way towards first base. Both of those home runs, a solo shot from Day in the second and a solo shot from Darby here in the fourth, 375 feet in a ballpark that's 352 in center, and in right field specifically 340 in the corner.
Not regulation, to say the least.
Definitely the smallest ballpark here on the Cape. The 1-1 skips in the dirt for ball 2. Darby, or rather Cook, gets ahead 2-1. YD in this series against Orleans hadn't hit a lot of home runs of this ballpark. As the 2-1 is hit on the ground towards Joe Oyama at second. This throw to first ends the fourth inning. But today, YD, who only hit 2 home runs in the first 3 games against Orleans from Red Wilson Field, matches that number in 4 innings against Evan Truitt. Solo shots from Brady Day and Xander Darby put the Red Sox ahead 3-1. After 4, Orleans tries to respond in the 5th inning. Dylan takes over on the play-by-play when we come right back on the Birds Broadcast Network.
Back here on the Birds Broadcast Network as we head to the top of the 5th. 3-1 YD leads. Dylan Pescatore, Ian Nicholas right here on the Birds Broadcast Network. 3 hits for the Firebirds, 4 hits for YD, but 2 of those have left the park. 2 solo shots by the Red Sox have them up 3-1 as we head to the top of the 5th. And Jason Doktorzik back to the mound.
Doktorzik having a really solid start. It hasn't been as pretty as the first one against Orleans, as he sits in the mid-70s with his pitch count heading into his 5th inning, but he's gained the trust of Scott Pickler, and after a shaky second inning rather, he's looked really good.
Starting off the 5th inning is Jake Casey, the 9-hitter for these Firebirds, who have seen 2 solo home runs over his head in right field. YD up 3-1. The first pitch from Doktorzik, a swing and a foul ball into the Orleans dugout along the first base side. 42 across the back of Doktorzik, who's worked his way through 4 innings of 1-run ball for a YD team that needs some length from their starting pitcher. Pitching from the windup, the 0-1 is in there for a strike. Another all-speed pitch to Jake Casey, 0-2. Casey hit it well in the second inning to center field. Skylar King, the center fielder, caught it just before the warning track. The 0-2 swing and a miss. Casey down to a knee on a 3-pitch strikeout from Doktorzik. Strikeout number 4 from the righty.
Yeah, Casey has not gotten lucky from this ballpark. Not only have home runs been hit over his head and he can't do anything to prevent them, but also had a home run robbed from him. The last time these 2 teams played here, R.J. Austin with a sensational grab in center field, no longer on the team. Casey still toughing through it, though.
Up comes Joe Oyama, 1 out, nobody on. YD up 3-1 as we head to the top of the 5th. First pitch to Oyama, in there for a strike with the changeup. Ian, first time around in the order, it was a lot of fastballs from Doktorzik. Now he's leaning more on his off-speed pitches.
And it's worked, right? You mentioned that 4-pitch mix that he is not afraid to go to. He trusts all 4 of his pitches.
0-1 is popped up foul and out of play third base side. Doktorzik has now recorded 5 straight outs dating back to the 3rd inning. Here in the 5th with 1 out, nobody on. 0-2 the count to Oyama. 3 infielders on the right side of second base for YD. Doktorzik, a slow windup. The pitch outside. 1-2 to the lefty. Oyama, who went 1 for 9 in the Harwich series, a 2-game sweep by the Firebirds, to get them here. The Eastern Division Finals. Doug Torzik gets his sign. 1-2 the count to Oyama, who pulls it on the ground to second. Fielded cleanly and thrown in time. Picked by Darby out of the dirt. The throw by Brady Day.
That's the thing with Oyama right now is, can he get the ball up in the air? Because when he's put the ball in play as of late, a lot of the time it's towards the right side of the infield and on the ground. But there's so much juice in that bat. It was so alive earlier on in the year, throughout the entirety of the year.
Doug Torzik starting to settle in. Upwards of 80 pitches. First pitch to the righty, Justin Rubin. He's in there for a strike. Another off-speed pitch on the slider. Doug Torzik during this summer pitched to a 3.3 ERA with YD. After an ERA above 6 at Nevada. 0-1 outside for a ball. Rubin, who's 0 for 2 on the day, hit the ball hard in the first to left field and grounded out to shortstop. The 1-1 from Doc Torzik, pulled in the air to center. Over goes King and the left fielder Cook. Cook makes the catch in front of the wall for out number 3. A 1-2-3 inning for Doc Torzik, exactly what YD needed after they put up a run in the bottom of the 4th. 3-1 Red Sox here on the Birds Broadcast Network as we head to the bottom of the 5th. We head to the bottom of the 5th. YD up 3-1 here on the Birds Broadcast Network in Game 1 of the Eastern Division Finals. A new pitcher on for the Firebirds. It's Everett Catlett out of Georgetown. The rising junior takes the mound here in YD. And he's not only been on the Firebirds this summer, but he also had a lot of success over in Mystic.
He did. The Mystic Schooners of the CCBL. Their season not over, but when their regular season ended, Catlett came here. And what a summer it was for him in the CCBL in Connecticut. A 0.86 ERA as a starter. 8 appearances, 7 of them as a starter. Just over 31 innings pitched with 34 Ks to only 14 walks. A whip under 1. Didn't pitch a lot during the spring at Georgetown. 27 innings and an ERA hovering around 7.5. But it's been a really good summer for him, and this is his second appearance for Orleans. His first in the playoffs.
His second appearance, like you said, 1 inning against Chatham. That didn't go the way that he would have wanted. In that inning, allowing 4 runs, 3 being earned, also allowing 2 walks and 2 hits. The lefty Catlett stands at 6'7" and can throw in the mid-90s for this Firebirds team. He'll face the switch hitter Theo Hardy, and then back to the top of the order with the lefty Skylar King. YD up 3-1 here in the bottom of the 5th. Only with 4 hits. The Firebirds with 3. The difference, 2 solo shots by YD. One by Brady Day and one by Xander Darby. Catlett peers in at Henry Hunter, the catcher tonight for the Firebirds. Comes set at the belt. Now kicks and deals inside for a ball. Stallman, the third baseman, charging in, expecting the bunt. Hardy didn't square. Nobody on, nobody out. A YD team that's playing their 4th game in 4 consecutive days. 1-0 on the ground to shortstop on 2 hops. Penny picks it up, throws it low, but picked out of the dirt by Matt Hallback for out number 1.
Yeah, it's a check swing from Hardy that he gets a piece of. Penny feels it well, and Hallback, who says he prides himself on his ability to make those difficult plays at first base, makes a good one. And that's the out you need to get Everett Catlett back in a rhythm and get him back to being productive on the mound like he was in the NECBL.
First pitch to Skylar King, high and outside. He squared around the bunt, pulled it back. King has had a lot of success in just 5 games with YD, 2 in the regular season and 3 here in the playoffs. This is game number 6. The 1-0 from the lefty Catlett at the top of the zone for a strike with the fastball.
Not easy to step into the most competitive summer ball league in the country and have a 6-game hit streak to start your career there. Play with the Elizabeth Beefin River Rats before that.
1-1, another fastball and another strike. And this is the type of year where you go into the summer, you don't know who's going to stay for the whole summer, and now Everett Catlett only has made 1 appearance for the Firebirds. Is pitching big innings here in the playoffs. The 1-2 pitch to King, swing and a miss, tied him up inside. First strikeout for Catlett tonight, and out number 2 here in the 5th.
It's not easy to step into these kinds of situations and get it done. It's a long season. There are injuries. There are guys who get drafted. There are players who simply just want to go home. But these two, who started their summers and dominated elsewhere, making contributions in the playoffs.
Brings up Ryan Jackson, who takes low on the changeup from Catlett. Jackson has reached on an error by the first baseman Matt Hallback and also grounded out to first. Catlett takes a deep breath. The lefty deals the 1-0. It's fouled back off the bat of Jackson and to the backstop here at Merrill Red Wilson Field in Yarmouth. The 7th time these teams have faced off with each other this season. They tied the season series 3-3. YD just 1 game better in the regular season. A swing and a miss on the 1-1. 1-2 with 2 outs. Catlett 1 pitch away from going 1-2-3 here in the 5th. The lefty from Georgetown is originally from Virginia. The 1-2 pitch on a line to right field. It's down for a base hit. Jackson thinks about 2. He'll turn the corner but stay at first base. A 2-out single for Ryan Jackson.
Catlett just hangs a 93-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle for Jackson. Doesn't hit it necessarily hard, 80 miles an hour off the bat, but all he needs to do puts good wood on it. 5th hit of a game for YD, and the powerful Braden Montgomery batting from the right side for the first time today.
Catlett with 1 on and Montgomery the batter with 2 outs. 3-1 YD. First pitch is fouled to the third base side, up and over as it bounced off someone's foot and into the crowd, which is huge here in YD. We don't mean to discredit it because of how great it was yesterday in Game 3 on a Sunday afternoon. This is a Monday afternoon, and it's still pretty packed here in Yarmouth. 0-1 pitch, popped up foul and out of play. 2 quick strikes from Catlett to Montgomery.
Challenging him, not pitching around him. Although he hasn't had a massive impact tonight, hitting over .330 this summer as a later addition to YD. Montgomery is second year on the Cape, and he is lethal.
2 years at Sanford, now in the portal. The runner on first. The 0-2 pitch to Montgomery. Popped up, foul, and out of play once more. This time to the first base side. YD has had a lot of hitters come through their roster this year. The start of the season to now, Montgomery a late addition. Jackson on first. The 0-2 fastball's high. When you think about a YD offense, you think about Montgomery and Hines, but also a really good supporting cast. Ryan Jackson, Ryan Stafford, Brady Day, Xander Darby. Now Skylar King at the top of the order. Scott Pickler has done a great job with this roster. The 1-2 outside, 2-2 with 2 outs.
Well, he's had to make a lot of changes. R.J. Austin left the team a week ago. Enzo Apodaca, who just transferred to Baylor, he left the team. 2 All-Stars who were playing every single day for him. Gone just like that.
Catlett looking for the out of Montgomery. The 2-2 swing and a miss. The changeup gets Montgomery fishing in the dirt. Catlett goes 1, 2, 3, 4 in the 5th with 2 strikeouts and keeps YD off the board. 3-1 Yarmouth as we head to the 6th.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm Sammy Miller. The YD Red Sox are currently up 3-1 heading to the top of the 6th. Before the game, I spoke to the Firebirds pitching staff. They all expressed how lucky they feel to have both Owen Carpellotti and Henry Hunter behind the plate for them all summer long. These pitchers know how hard it is for catchers to have to learn certain tendencies and what they like to throw in situations in such a short amount of time, yet they expressed how they make it look so easy. They take the time to learn how each one of them ticks and how they best communicate. A big component to this is that they try to spend as much time together during game days, but even more importantly on off days when they are removed from baseball and get to know each other as human beings. It has especially been evident in the last few weeks when the chemistry has been essential to their success. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Sammy. The chemistry on this team has been building since day 1. And now that day 1 was June 3rd. We sit here on August 7th, 2+ months later. And a lot of the same faces when we're talking about position players, Ian, but those catchers have to deal with a lot of pitchers and a lot of rotation there.
You look at the guys who are only to started this playoff series, whether it is Grayson Carter or Ivan Romero, not day 1 guys. A lot of the bullpen options like an Everett Catlett just joined the team last week, but those two have great personalities and great leadership behind the plate.
Top 6, Doc Torzik back to the mound. First pitch to Jack Penny is outside for a ball in the off-speed offering. Doc Torzik at 85 pitches here in the 6th. Not usually a number that a lot of starting pitchers get to in summer ball, but you can tell it's playoffs and that YD needs some length from their starting pitching. Penny takes a strike on the outside corner, 1-1.
A lot of YD's better arms not available, including Landon Beitelshe's out of a bullpen, Will Armbruster. Both used yesterday.
Nobody out. The 1-1 pitch to Penny is popped up to the left side. Left fielder Casey Cook near the line makes the catch for out number 1.
It's a YD pitching staff that's been really good all year long. Second lowest ERA, actually the lowest ERA in the league. But the pitching depth is a little short up right now. So getting 6 innings from Doc Torzik is exactly what Scott Pickler ordered, and that's huge for this team.
Currently at 5 1/3. Matt Hallback, the batter, from the right side against Doc Torzik. Back out of the windup. First pitch, line drive to right, but right at the right fielder, Braden Montgomery, who makes the catch. A hard hit ball at just under 90 miles per hour off the bat. Hallback goes down for out number 2.
The thing about the last couple innings is Doc Torzik is just breezing through, whether it's weak contact or ground outs. The at-bats are pretty short, and that's why the pitch kind of stay where it is. That's why he's still out here.
2 outs. Eddie Micheletti, the batter. 9 straight retired by Doc Torzik, and the pitch on the outside corner is in for a strike. Firebirds down 3-1. However, they've been in this spot before and actually in both playoff games, losing going into the later innings. 1 is fouled away. Next pitch from Doc Torzik will be pitch number 90.
This Firebirds team over the last week has loved to make things dramatic, but has come up big, scoring almost all of its runs in the 8th and 9th inning against Harwich.
0-2. with 2 outs. The pitch on the ground in fair territory down the left field line. No one was over there as Whitey was in the shift. Eddie Micheletti gets on base with 2 outs here in the 6th.
Big reason why the Firebirds have been able to rally time in and time again is because of Eddie Micheletti. Whether it was his 2 RBIs 2 nights ago against Harwich or what he did to close out the regular season, he has been so good when this team has needed him the most.
And up comes Eddie King Jr. as the tying run with 2 outs, down 3-1 here in the top of the 6th. Micheletti goes the other way as the third baseman Hardy was in the shift. First pitch to King, swing and a miss in front of the slider from Doc Torzik. 4 hits for Orleans, that was one of them. Micheletti, who walked in the 2nd, now singles here in the 6th. King walked as well in the 2nd and flew out to right field. Torzik takes a look over at first. The 0-1 pitch outside and low. King, who has really come on as of the past 2 weeks in this lineup. A June that didn't seem like Eddie King was really at his full potential. Hitting the ball hard, but right at defenders. A July that he'll be telling everybody about. Hopefully looking to move that into August. The 1-1 on the outside corner for a strike, another slider.
Although he isn't racking up as many 3-hit games as he was late in the month of July, still driving in runs. Eddie King in search of his 3rd RBI in the last 4 games. 15 on the year.
1-2, 2 outs. Micheletti on first. Doc Torzik from the stretch. The pitch in the air, foul, first base side, out of play.
And none of those RBI came in the month of June. Like you said, he's putting the ball all over the field with good power.
Count stays 1-2 with 2 outs. Doc Torzik's pitch count at 94. Gonna complete 6 innings. The pitch to King, a fastball inside. That brushes him off the plate. Two and two. 2 outs, 1 on. Firebirds down 3-1. King the righty against Doc Torzik. Also a righty. The pitch popped up in the air, this time in fair territory. Back of first, looking for it is Darby. And it drops right near the line. Darby was getting spun around. Day didn't know where it was, and it drops. To third goes Micheletti. On first is King with 2 outs, and up comes Brandon Stallman. It is called an error on Brady Day. And now Whitey has a decision to make. They have Pablo Torres, the righty, warming up in the bullpen. Doc Torzik's pitch count now at 95. 2 on, 2 outs. Stallman the hitter from the left side. The catcher Stafford looks toward the dugout. Nobody's coming out of there. So he gives us signs of first and third. It was a pop-up right behind first base. Darby didn't know where it was. Day did, but he got there too late. It dropped in fair territory on the infield grass, infield dirt. First pitch from Doc Torzik is low to Stallman. He's 0 for 2 on the day. Both outs on the ground. 1 to shortstop and 1 right back to Doc Torzik on the mound. Firebirds looking to punch back after going behind 3-1. A check over on first. King gets back safely. Micheletti's on third. The Eddies are on base, and Stallman's the hitter.
King with really good speed at first. Led this Firebirds team in stolen bags in the regular season with 8.
The wind blowing from right to left. Another check over on King. He gets back with plenty of time as Darby fielded the throw.
Got to capitalize on this opportunity gifted to you with 2 outs in a game where your offense has been a little stagnant.
Doc Torzik from the stretch. The 1-0 pitch is in there for a strike. A late strike call by David Martinez, the home plate umpire. Seemed like he was making up his mind as it hit the glove of Ryan Safford. And a strike called, 1-1. Another check over on King. He's making it back. It's a lot of time. Torres, the righty, still warming up in the bullpen for YD. Doc Torzik looking to make his way through 6 innings of 1-run ball. Hardy moves toward third. The third baseman now back to his regular position, and another check over on King. Make it 4.
That's what Eddie King provides at first base. He provides good speed and a distraction. Doc Torzik should be locked in on getting out of his jam, but instead he has to pay attention at first, trying to keep this 2-run lead.
1-1 the count. The pitch to Stallman is low. Stafford blocks it up, 2-1.
Orleans has needed an at-bat like this for a while against Doc Torzik to run up that pitch count, to tire him out. He sits at just under 100 pitches. Again, like you said earlier, you do not see this often in summer ball. With every pitch, it's a little more wary.
Here comes the triple-digit pitch. 2-1. Pitch is low, but Stallman chases it. A changeup that gets Stallman to chase. 2-2.
Continuing to go back to the off-speed pitches. Doc Torzik has been very good with mixing his stuff up from the first, second, now third time around.
2 outs, 2 on with runners on the corners, and another check over on Eddie King. This is the longest in terms of pitch count we've seen a pitcher go, either the Firebirds or the opposing team, the entire summer. Only in 5 2/3. 2-2 the count. King's off and running. Stallman swings and misses. Doc Torzik at 101 pitches works through 6 innings of 1-run ball with 5 strikeouts. Very similar to what he did back on July 24th against the Firebirds. He does it again here on August 7th. 3-1 YD as we move to the bottom of the frame. (3-1) the score with YD in front here on the Birds Broadcast Network. An opportunity for the Firebirds with runners on the corners and 2 outs. They can't take advantage. 2 more runners left. They've left 6 on in 6 innings at the plate.
In games like these where the pitching is going to be at its best because both teams are going to be trotting out their best arms on a nightly basis, you have to cash in when you do get runners on. You were given a gift, an error from Day that allowed 2 base runners to get on. And not a bad at-bat from Brandon Stallman, but not ending in the result you'd hope.
Everett Catlett back to the mound. The lefty out of Georgetown as Hines checks his swing on a ball low. Firebirds have held Montgomery and Hines in check. Out of 5 at-bats, only 1 time they've reached base. And that was an intentional walk. The 1-0 is a fastball outside. Catlett got 3 outs in the 5th, allowing 1 single to Ryan Jackson and striking out 2. The 2-0 pulled on the ground foul, first base side. Ian, it hasn't even been the top of the order for the Firebirds against YD. It's been the bottom of the order that's killed them today.
if you read those stats at half a game,
2-1, swing and a miss on a changeup low.
you read those stats before the game and said Orleans would be trailing by 2 in the middle of the game, probably wouldn't believe you just because that was the goal headed into this game to neutralize those two.
A pop-up in the air to deep center. Back goes King. He's looking at the fence. It's gone. What a surprise. Hunter Hines goes deep again. 13 in the regular season, and now his first playoff home run. 4-1 YD as it sneaks over the center field wall. A home run to center that goes 367 feet. All you can say is only in Yarmouth.
It's disappointing because you go from playing game 2 in the first round against Harwich where maybe all 3 of those home runs wouldn't even make it out of the park, and tonight.
On the ground, right back to Catlett, who fields it and will toss to first just in time to get Stafford for out number 1.
Tonight you play in a completely different ballpark, a park that you had previously done well at limiting home runs in. Hines hit 2 home runs against you back on the 25th of June, and in the last 2 matchups here, Orleans hasn't allowed a single home run. But sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles, and 3 great individual pieces of hitting.
Brady Day has one of those solo home runs. He takes a strike at the top of the zone. And you can't really blame the pitching as well because, like you said, Ian, you play in any other ballpark, these are fly balls that are caught by the outfielders as another strike is fired in by Catlett today, the lefty.
That's why home field advantage was so important in this playoff race.
The 0-2 on the ground to third. Stallman reaches out, picks it out of the air, and makes the throw over to get the speedy Day, who was hustling down the line.
The battle for the 1 seed in the East Division came down to the final day in the regular season. Whitey took care of business on the road against Wareham. Orleans lost a heartbreaker to Chatham, and both of those teams advanced. And Whitey hosting game 1 in a ballpark they know well. They've succeeded in all year long and reaping the benefits of Red Wilson Field.
The first pitch to Xander Darby, the lefty, is a little bit low for a ball with 2 outs and nobody on. Whitey up 4-1. 3 solo shots and an RBI single as well. The difference. The only offense from Orleans coming in that second inning on an RBI single by Henry Hunter. 1-0 turns into 2-0 on a pitch high. Two and 0 from Catlett. Outside, according to David Martinez.
It's not a bad spot at all, but you talked about this earlier in the game. It's a bit of a tighter strike zone this afternoon.
3-0, high and outside. 4-pitch walk to Xander Darby, who originally was 1 for 11 in these playoffs. His 1, the home run tonight. With a 2-out walk, it brings up Casey Cook, who singled and came around to score in the 3rd. Scored on a Skylar King fielder's choice. Check over on first. And Catlett gets it back. Like you were saying, Ian, this came down to the last day. Orleans, all they had to do was beat Chatham. It was just playing good baseball at the end of the year. They fell 14-12, and YD beat up on Wareham. The first pitch to the lefty, Casey Cook, is in for a strike with the fastball. It smacks the mitt of Henry Hunter.
The one thing, though, that you learned from not only that Chatham game but also the Harwich series is it doesn't matter if a deficit, the Firebirds are always in it.
0-1, popped up foul out of play. The Firebirds were down 1 to Harwich in game 1. They were also down only 1 to Harwich in game 2. Came back to tie and then eventually take the lead and win those games. Now they're down 3, 4-1.
Even in that Chatham game, they were down 10 runs. Made it a 2-run deficit in the 9th. Came up just short.
Runner on first. The 0-2 pitch to Cook. Just high.
So I know it's not the winning baseball you necessarily want to play, right? Leaving base runners stranded in the middle of the game, trying to claw your way out of a hole. But if the pitching can keep it where it is and limit the solo shots Orleans still has a shot late in the game.
Catlett, a long pause. The 1-2 pitch on the ground, foul. First base side. It's a frustrating game so far because YD has hit some balls hard. So has the Firebirds, but it has not been a offensive showcase, you would say. And the score reads somewhat that. 4-1 in favor of Yarmouth. 1-2 again. Foul ball, third base side out of play.
Yeah, you just look at it, right? And Evan Truitt, I think he pitched a lot better than 4 runs in 3 innings would indicate. I mean, Catlett gives up a 365-foot home run, which would, again, be a fly-out in a lot of the parks, only handing out 2 free passes and limiting the hits outside of the homers.
1-2, swing and a miss. Catlett allows the home run to start the inning, but then records 3 outs and 4 batters, leaves 1 on base. 4-1 in favor of Yarmouth-Dennis as we head to the 7th. Back here on the Birds Broadcast Network, as we head to the 7th inning, we start with the pinch hitter. Owen Carpellotti is hitting for Henry Hunter as we start off the 7th. He'll face a new pitcher, Pablo Torres, out of the bullpen for YD after a really good performance from Jason Doc Torzik. Right what the doctor ordered if the doctor was Scott Pickler. Ian, what did he do?
Well said, right? 101 pitches over 6 innings. Scattered 4 hits, gave up just 1 run with 5 strikeouts against only 2 walks.
Firebirds a little bit better, but not enough against Doc Torzik after last time. The first pitch to Carpellotti from Torres is a strike. Torres just finished up a year at Bethune-Cookman in the SWAC, 40 innings with 52 strikeouts, ERA north of 6. This summer has been excellent. 0-1, Carpellotti goes fishing in the dirt, 0-2. At our favorite summer ball team, which Carpellotti did play for a few summers ago, Elizabethton.
Correct.
1.35 ERA in 13 innings, 26 strikeouts. The 0-2 outside by Torres, and then has only thrown 1 inning here in YD. It didn't go well, allowing 2 runs on 2 hits and 3 walks. His playoff debut. The 1-2. Carpellotti takes just outside.
The River Rats gifted YD 2 of their best players, not only Torres, but Skylar King at the top of this order also started his summer in Elizabethton. You got to adjust late in the season.
2-2, swing and a miss. Torres pulls the string on Carpellotti for the first out.
He might come from a small school in Bethune-Cookman in Florida, but he's got big league stuff, right? You mentioned those strikeout numbers in the Appy League. Even from Bethune-Cookman, was invited to participate in the USA Collegiate National Team Training Camp. A really good player, a top 500 prospect in the entire nation a recruiting cycle ago. He is meant for these moments.
Jake Casey, the batter, fouls it off left field side and near the Whitey bullpen. Bullpen that only needs to cover 9 outs as the rain starts coming down a little bit harder here in Yarmouth. It's been drizzling on and off throughout the game. Now a little bit more consistent. The 0-1 to Casey is low from Torres. Firebirds down 4-1 here in the top of the 7th in Game 1 of the East Division Finals. Torres, the righty, comes set. The 1-1, high and outside. Lefty Casey against the righty Torres. 2-1 the count with 1 out, nobody on. The pitch, a line drive, right field, but foul. Hard hit, 96 off the bat, but just foul from Casey down the right field line.
An opportunity for Jake to help his team out in a big way here. 2-strike count with that power in that bat in this ballpark. It almost feels perfect to give his team a spark.
Theo Hardy playing off the line. The 2-2 pitch, a line drive into right field. It gets down for a base hit. Jake Casey, a 1-out single here in the 7th off Torres, and it'll flip the order. Joe Oyama comes up.
It's exactly what Orleans needed. A single from the bottom man of the order. Hits 2 balls down the right field line, both over 90 miles an hour. Pulls the second one fair and gets it down for a hit. Joe Oyama, somebody who could also use a hit, somebody who's been so good all summer long, in need of a signature moment in the playoffs, and here it is.
1 out, Casey on first. Birds chasing 3. Torres from the stretch. Pitches high, Oyama fouls it. Down the left field line, a pop fly. Chasing for it and diving, but not making the catch is the third baseman, Theo Hardy. Oyama put it in the air, down the left field line, and just foul. Theo Hardy from third base chased it all the way back and even dove in and out of his glove. Oyama gets another life.
Theo Hardy wants to be here, right? What an effort. Going all out for a foul ball. Hit the home run yesterday for Whitey to put them ahead against Brewster. Nearly makes that play there. You got to give him a lot of credit for the effort he's displayed this late in the summer ball season.
3 on the right side for YD in the infield. Casey on first. The 0-1 pitch is low. Gets away from Stafford, and Casey's going to take second. A fastball that got away from Torres. And a runner in scoring position for the Firebirds here in the 7th inning.
Huge hole on the left side of the infield for Joe Oyama, who's shown so many times this season he has the ability to go the other way from the left-handed side of the batter's box.
The Firebirds 1 for 3 with a runner on second or third tonight. That hit was Henry Hunter's. The 1-1, a foul tip into the glove of Ryan Stafford for strike 2. One and 2 the count. Torres peers in at Stafford. The catcher signs. With Casey off second, being held on by the shortstop, Ryan Jackson. The pitch on the ground, into right field for a base hit. Around third comes Casey. The throw from Montgomery is low and offline. RBI single for Joe Oyama. And the Firebirds cut it from 4-1 to 4-2.
That's what Joe Oyama needed, and that's what he has provided all summer long. Playing in the shift, too. Brady Day lays out for it, takes a stumble. Can't keep the ball in front of him. Oyama does just enough in a big spot. And Justin Rubin, who's come up big so far in the playoffs on multiple occasions for Orleans, with a chance to maybe tie it up.
He is the tying run with Oyama on first and 1 out. Firebirds down 4-2 in the top of the 7th. Torres' first pitch to Rubin is inside for a ball. Great summer in Virginia in the Appy League. So far, not going his way in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Torres comes set. Looks at Oyama 3 times. The 1-0 pitch to Ruben is high and inside. The fastball is not under control right now from Torres.
It's a pitch with a lot of movement. It's clocking in the low to mid-90s right now, but similar to Doc Torzik earlier in the game, if you can't land it for strikes, you have to get deeper into your bag and understand, can I throw my second or third pitch?
The 2-0 to Ruben, a slider that catches the outside corner.
It's a good pitch, a competitive pitch on the outer half, even with this tighter strike zone.
Ruben, the righty, from Virginia all the way out to the West Coast, Pepperdine, this next season. 2-1 pitch, inside the fastball. 3-1 with 1 out, and Ruben up as the tying run. Firebirds team that was down 4-1, now fighting back. 4-2 with a man on, and the count in Ruben's favor. 3 checks on Oyama. The 3-1 is low. Ball 4 to Ruben. Oyama to second. Ruben on first, and up comes Jack Penny, who has played a lot of huge parts here in the playoffs so far.
It's at bats like those from Justin and Ruben that often go unsung, but if you're watching the game live, you can't understate how important that was. For Joe Oyama to drive in a run, but for the rally not to be over. For Ruben to take 5 pitches, 4 of them for balls in the reach, and put the ball in the hands, theoretically, of Jack Penny, who's been so big in these kinds of moments this summer.
Penny up with 2 on. Oyama on second, Ruben on first. First pitch swinging to second base. Day fields it, throw to second just in time to get Ruben. Day to Jackson, the fielder's choice. A great play by Brady Day, throwing across his body for the out. 2 outs, Oyama takes third. On first is Jack Penny. Birds down 4-2, Hallback the batter.
Brady Day is a special talent. He's been solid from the plate this summer. Could not make the play with Joe Oyama's single that just scored a run, but Big 12 all-conference selection, who's played all around the infield. Takes a risk, and it works.
Matt Hallback has been one of the more undervalued batters in this East Division, in this Cape Cod Baseball League. Led the Firebirds in the regular season in batting average at .364. First pitch, almost at his ankles for a strike. The pitcher in the bullpen for OID is number 41, Boston Mabius, who pitched just 2 days ago.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. In a jam, YD knows how important it is to keep the lead this late in the game.
Up 4-2, Torres up 0-1 on Hallback after he was gifted strike 1. Oyama on third. The pitch is low, gets away from Stafford, in comes Oyama. 2 wild pitches this inning by Torres. Firebirds within 1, 4-3.
That's why Jason Doctorzik going as long as he did proved to be so valuable for YD, and things starting to fall by the wayside with him out of the game. This Orleans offense won't be held down, and they're going to take advantage of the mistakes that you've make. Didn't do it earlier in the game, but making this team pay right now.
Hallback, 1-1 the count with 2 outs and Penny on second. Score now 4-3. Another pitch that almost got away from Stafford. Penny took second on the first wild pitch, not of the inning, but the one that scored Oyama. So he's on second. Hallback a single away from tying this game. Torres is truly having trouble locating right now. 2-1 the count, 2 outs. Penny with a good lead at second. The pitch, a fastball that Hallback swings through. 2-2. Torres let that one rip. Hallback saw fastball and went around. Orleans with 2 here in the 7th to cut it to a 4-3 game. Now a chance to tie it. Torres comes set in the stretch. The pitch to Hallback is low, and Stafford with another tremendous block. Keeps it in front and toss it back to Torres. Full count.
Although he just swung and missed the pitch prior, you're rarely going to see Matt Hallback swing at anything outside of his zone.
Now the home plate umpire, David Martinez, is taking the original ball away from Pablo Torres. He's going to give him a new ball. Now, for what reason? I'm not sure. The ball just landed in the dirt. Stafford blocked it, and Torres, if he wanted to, could ask for a new ball. He didn't, but David Martinez said, here, take this one. Delivered it to him personally. 3-2. 2 outs with a runner on second base in Penny. Torres looks at him. The pitch to Hallback. Line drive down the left field line. Caught by Hardy. The throw. Oh, what a play. Hardy, a diving stop at third, and got Hallback at first. A hard hit ball, but Theo Hardy's defense has been proven big here in game 1. Firebirds get 2. They leave 1 on base. 4-3 the score as we stretch in the 7th. We've stretched. We've seen the Firebirds score 2 runs in the top of the 7th. And now we go to the bottom of the 7th. Everett Catlett back out for another inning, his 3rd inning, allowing just 1 run on the solo fly ball that just snuck over the center field fence by Hunter Hines, which is the difference in this game. 4-3 the score with YD in front. Catlett will face the 9-hitter, Theo Hardy, who just saved the game from it being tied. He swings and misses at the first pitch from Catlett. With Penny on second base, Hallback lined it down the third base line. Hardy, diving stop, and the throw to first to get Hallback to end the inning. 0-1, a soft chopper to third, but it's going foul. Stallman picks it up in foul territory, 0-2.
Theo Hardy, who started his summer with YD 1 for 20 from the plate, has heated up as of late. A really good player for the reigning Mountain West champions at San Jose State, and he has made some championship-level plays for YD today, whether it was that unbelievably difficult play to end last inning for Orleans, his solo home run last night, a single earlier in this game. He's come up in some big spots.
Down 0-2 with nobody out, nobody on here in the bottom of the 7th. The pitch popped up foul and out of play again. Owen Carpellotti has taken over at catcher after pinch hitting in the last inning for Henry Hunter. Still another catcher on the roster that hasn't been used for the Firebirds in case anything happens, and Colin Tuft. The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Fastball by Catlett gets his 4th strikeout and the first out here in the 7th.
Gatlett's been really good. That home run, it is what it is, right? 365 feet to center field from Hunter Hines. But outside of that solo shot, 4 Ks and under 3 innings on the mound. Efficient, attacking.
Up comes Skylar King, the leadoff hitter for YD. He's 0 for 3 on the night. Reached on a fielder's choice. First pitch to King, the lefty, is outside and low. Third baseman Stallman in on the grass, expecting a bunt. King is not afraid to lay one down for a hit and has great speed to pair along with it. The 1-0 popped up left field side. In comes Micheletti in shallow left. Makes the catch for out number 2. Two quick outs for Everett Catlett here in the 7th, keeping this game at 4-3. Up comes Ryan Jackson.
Give a lot of credit to Kelly Nicholson to trust Everett Catlett to rebound after a shaky first outing with the team last Wednesday against Chatham. He knew what he had. And at Georgetown Hoya, him and Owen Carpellotti getting it done.
Catlett fires low and outside to Jackson. He's had himself a game as well. Reached twice, one on an error and one on a base hit in the 5th against the lefty Catlett. 1-0 was a little bit low. And we've talked about the Firebirds doing a good job, for the most part, against Hunter Hines and Brady Montgomery. But Jackson and Stafford, both Ryans, have been also really good for this YD squad.
Jackson has been one of the best contact hitters on this team.
2-0, fastball at the top of the zone for a strike.
And he was a recent addition. Again, somebody who was not here at the start of the summer. And Stafford, one of the best players in all the Big West at Cal Poly, has been a Firebirds killer over the last couple games.
4 hits in their last meeting, 2-1, another strike, this time off speed. Catlett 1 pitch away from going 1-2-3 in the 7th. He looks in at Carpellotti, the 2 Georgetown teammates. Pitching here in the 7th, the 2-2, low and outside. No chase from Jackson, runs the count full. And we talk with Owen Carpellotti almost every day, and he was singing Catlett's praises even before he came here. Now he's finally here and showing out. The 3-2 pitch in the air to center. Eddie King Jr. strolls over and makes the catch for out number 3. 1-2-3 for Everett Catlett. 3 innings out of the bullpen, allowing just 1 run. Really good work from the lefty from Georgetown. We'll go to the 8th. Firebirds chasing 1, 4. Back here on the Birds Broadcast Network, Firebirds down 4-3 as we head to the top of the 8th. It's 4 of the next 5 batters are left-handed for Orleans. So who does YD go to? A lefty out of the bullpen. And Ian, who is he?
Boston Mabius, definitely one of the cooler names here on the Cape, and he has been a pretty cool customer. Originally out of BYU, pitched just 2 days ago in the playoffs for this team. A lefty that pitched against this Orleans team late in the regular season and did so well. Pitched 3 shutout frames on July 24th. Gave up 4 hits, but also struck out 4 batters. And struck out 4 batters the last time he pitched too. 3 frames, a 1-run ball against Brewster in the Game 2 win against the Whitecaps. He's been very good this summer.
His last playoff appearance, like you said, Ian. 3 innings to finish off a Game 2 win after 6 innings from Finnegan Wall at Stony Brook Field in Brewster. Here in the Ace, it's Orleans and YD. Just getting started over in the West, Bourne and Hyannis in the West Division Finals. The lefty Mabius against the lefty Micheletti, who singled back in the 6th. His left stranded at 3rd. First pitch from the lefty Mabius is high for a ball. The rising senior out of BYU, Originally from Henderson, Nevada, and south of the state, almost near the Arizona border. 1-0 pitch is fouled away. Maybe this comes all the way around. Pitches right over the top. The wind's still blowing from right to left here in Yarmouth. Nobody out, nobody on. 1-1 curveball, popped up, foul. Hardy calls for it. Hardy makes the catch, the third baseman in foul territory for out number 1. Up comes Eddie King Jr. Ian Orleans has been in this situation in every playoff game this summer. Down 1 heading to the 8th.
They love the feeling of being in uncomfortable spots when the pressure is on them and their back is against the wall. This group is as resilient as it is.
First pitch to King is low and inside for a ball. It all started last inning with a Jake Casey single with 1 out. Someone who hasn't played in 5 days before today. Comes in and has a big hit. The 1-0 fastball for a strike. 3 solo home runs by YD. And an RBI, fielder's choice, gives them their 4 runs. 1-1 on the ground, but foul off of King in the box. 1-2. And for Orleans, it started in the second inning with an RBI single from Henry Hunter. Then Joe Oyama drove in Jake Casey with an RBI single of his own. Orleans added another on a wild pitch as Oyama was on third, came around to score to make it a 1-run game, which is where we sit right now. The 1-2 pitch from Eddie King, just outside.
That was on the outer half. Obviously, some groans from the YD faithful. A good pitch. Ultimately, maybe it does not get the call.
The lefty Mabius comes set at his neck, now at his chest. 2-2. King, a line drive into right field, and it'll get down for a base hit. Montgomery let it drop in front of him, and Eddie King on with a 1-out single here in the 8th.
Just a great at-bat from Eddie King. Drives a low fastball the other way. Now it's time to see if Orleans deploys him to use his speed with 8 stolen bases on the year, but none so far through 4 playoff games.
King on first, Stallman the batter, the left-handed hitter out of UNC Charlotte. Stallman 0 for 3 on the night. First pitch from Mabius, a big curveball in for a strike. That is his bread and butter, to get out left-handed hitters. The big looping curve.
And it ends up right down the middle of the plate. And Stallman thought it was headed right for him.
Harder to seal off a lefty, of course, when we're talking about the runner King. 0-1 gets away from Stafford way high. Forget the stolen base. Eddie King's in scoring position on the wild pitch.
Just like last inning. When Torres was wild and throwing in pitches in the dirt, you got to take advantage when they give you a gift. Also not looking too far ahead, but Owen Carpellotti on deck, and in the hole, a pinch hitter in Fenwick Trimble. Pinch hitting for Jay Casey.
If he gets up, looking to take advantage of the matchups, the righty Trimble rather than the lefty Casey. Maybe a steps off. The count now 1-1. With 1 out, King on second. Any ball to the outfield that lands, he'll be heading home. The 1-1 pitch, another curveball, and another strike. That one on the outside corner. And a little bit high. So 1-2 to Stallman with 1 out. Ground ball to the right side would move King to third. Mabius and Stafford getting on the same page after a few shakes. He'll look at second. Now the 1-2 curveball pulled on the ground, first base side foul.
Mabius' stuff is so good, but Stallman is such a tough out. Such an interesting battle. A pitcher with 50 Ks and just under 30 innings in the spring against somebody who has proven to be a tough test in the box in Stallman.
Still 1-2. The shortstop Jackson holding on King. Only one look to second. The 1-2 pitch is a fastball outside. 2-2. Stallman with a lot of big hits in his short summer with Orleans. Still looking for the power stroke. Here, it'll only take a single to tie the game. King with a big lead. The 2-2 curveball line drive past Hardy at third base. Fielded quickly by Cook. King moves to third. A single by Brandon Stallman the other way. Runners on the corners with one out here in the 8th.
Not an extra base hit, which Brandon Stallman still does not have, but he does not need it. 88 miles an hour. Hardy with a good effort. He was there in terms of a time, but it just gets underneath the glove, and Cook gave him a lot of credit for his reaction to keep Eddie King Jr. with so much speed at third.
Stafford gives the signs. On third, King couldn't come around to score as the ball was right in front of him. Hardy just missed it. He's at third. At first is Brandon Stallman. One out. The batter is Owen Carpellotti, who singled in game 2 and also had a bunt single in game 1. He squares around a bunt. Maybe it's his first pitch is bunted foul. Ian, how do you feel about this decision, trying to lay down a bunt and get in Eddie King?
Orleans hasn't deployed it yet this season, but in need of runs late in the game, going to small ball, trying to manufacture one, not the worst idea.
The double play still in order for YD to get out of this inning. 8 hits for Orleans on the night. 0-1 the count to Carpellotti as Mabius comes set. Carpellotti doesn't square to bunt. The throw back to third. Hardy catches it. King gets back. The pitch was a ball outside.
It's a good throw from Stafford, because if it gets by Hardy, you could say goodbye to Eddie King at third base.
Jay Casey now comes back on deck for the Firebirds. Runners on the corners. Stallman off first, covered by Darby. Maybe it's the lefty against the lefty Carpellotti. 1-1, swing and a miss on a ball in the dirt. Blocked up well by Stafford on the big curveball.
That's going to be the pitch for Mabius. Big looping curve that's landed up, down, and all around the zone, now in the dirt.
The Firebirds need a ball in play. Can Carpellotti give it to him? The count 1-2. Maybe it's his pitch is low, no chase by Carpellotti. And another great block by Stafford.
Obviously, Carpellotti would love to come up in such a big spot here, but his approach has changed so much throughout the summer. Understanding what he needs to provide this team in this moment, a good at bat.
Count even at 2s. With one out. First and third occupied. Pitch from Mabius, another low pitch, and another block by Stafford. Full count. Full count with Mabius, the lefty. Against Carpellotti, who is down 1-2. He'll check over on Stallman. The throw almost got away from Darby. Warming up, the righty, Blake Ida, in the bullpen. Has not pitched in the playoffs yet, but a big arm for YD. The full count pitch from Mabius. High and outside, ball 4. What an at-bat by Owen Carpellotti. Jake Casey heads back to the dugout. It'll be Fenwick Trimble as the pinch hitter with bases loaded and one out here in the 8th.
One of, if not the best at bat for Owen Carpellotti this summer, and it ends in a walk, and where he could have played the hero with only one out, but passes the baton, which has been the motto of this team all summer long, to Fenwick Trimble.
Trimble 0 for 4 in these playoffs. He did reach on an error, which started the rally in the 8th inning of Game 2. King on third. On second, Stallman. On first, Carpellotti. Trimble the batter against the lefty Mabius. The first pitch is way high. Caught by Stafford at his head.
Trimble who's had a solid summer, but against YD, just one hit on 22 at-bats. They're playing the matchup game. It's just a weird stat. Can he debunk it with the bases loaded and 1 out?
Mabius is 1-0. Curveball low, 2-0. And clearly the fastball getting away from Mabius. His best pitch this summer has been the curveball. Is that what Trimble has to think of right now?
Well, it continues to miss low. And if he's not landing it for strikes, and if the fastball's not in for strikes either, the base is loaded and 1 out, you got to stay patient.
2-0 the count with 1 out, bases juiced. Pitch from Mabius, foul back. Trimble put a good swing on it, just missed it.
That's a good pitch to swing at. Low and in. For sure a strike. Somebody with such a powerful swing like Fenwick Trimble. He's been waiting for his signature moment all year too.
Count moves to 2-1 with 1 out. Pitch from Mabius. Popped up in the air to deep left. Back goes the left fielder at the wall. Out of here! Fenwick Trimble, grand slam. The Firebirds take a 7-4 lead in the 8th.
And there it is. First grand slam of the summer for the entirety of his Firebirds team. The 3rd home run for Fenwick Trimble. That one would have been gone in a lot of parks. 395 feet to left, 100 miles an hour off the bat. The game flipped on its head.
A Firebirds team that was down 4-1 as the ball's fired high to Oyama, the lefty. With 2 runs in the 7th and now 4 in the 8th. Like you said, Ian, we've been waiting for it. This is game number 47 for the Firebirds and their first grand slam in the biggest of moments.
6 runs in these last 2 innings. They love to make it interesting.
1-0 is low to Oyama. Trimble's 3rd home run in the summer. Of course, first of the playoffs. And a 2-1 fastball. That's drilled way over the left field fence.
Scott Pickler makes his way out.
Pickler comes out. He's going to make a move to Ida in the bullpen, the righty. Mid at bat. 2-0 count, 1 out, nobody on. Firebirds up 7-4 here in the 8th. Here in the top of the 8th, where the Firebirds have taken the lead. 7-4 on a grand slam by Fenwick Trimble. First of the season for Orleans. And they are not done yet here in the 8th. Only one out with nobody on. The count 2-0. Mabius was pulled mid at bat, and in comes Blake Ida, the righty. Ian, he's been really good for this team.
He has, and somehow, some way, Orleans hasn't seen him this summer. 10 appearances all out of a bullpen. A 3.3 ERA for the rising sophomore out of Kennesaw State in 19 innings pitched. He's been efficient, 22 strikeouts, and only 11 walks handed out.
So the count is 2-0 to Oyama. The Firebirds up 7-4. They trailed 4-1 going into the 7th. The 2-0 pitch, swing and a miss from the righty Ida. It started in the 7th when Torres gave up 2 runs to make it 4-3. The 2-1 high and away. Boston Mabius got the first out here in the 8th. Pitching for the second time in 3 days. However, a single to Eddie King, a single by Brandon Stallman, a walk by Owen Carpellotti. 3-1 outside, a walk to Joe Oyama, and then the grand slam by Fenwick Trimble. And we can look back at those at-bats. I think maybe the biggest one was the Owen Carpellotti walk.
Just didn't give in, continued to take and take when he was behind an account. Saw a lot of curveballs, a tantalizing pitch that kept missing low. Carpellotti understood what he needed to do and was unselfish in that moment.
The first pitch to Justin Rubin in for a strike with the fastball. Look at Brandon Stallman's single. Down to third base, and Hardy couldn't make the play. To all load the bases. Oyama on first with 1 out. The count 0-1 to Rubin. Pitch fired outside for a ball. Every single game this season, someone's had their moment. Fenwick Trimble just had his moment here in the 8th. 1-1, a foul ball right off Stafford. The catcher, he seems to be all right. David Martinez is going to give him some time as he delivers the new ball to the pitcher, Blake Ida, the Georgia native, who now pitches with Whitey down 3. And we mentioned he's been one of the biggest arms in this bullpen. Interesting for Whitey to bring him in when they're losing. Could take him out for tomorrow's game and possibly a game 3.
It's a risky decision, right? I mean, Boston maybe he's just pitched. He pitched 2 days prior. It's a thinner group right now for Scott Pickler. A good group, but a thin group. And I think the mentality is all hands on deck, regardless of when you last pitched.
With 1 out, the 1-0 pitch to 1-2 pitch to Rubin on the ground to third. Hardy to second for 1, on to first, not in time. Fielder's choice as Oyama's forced out at second for out number 2. Rubin at first, and up comes Jack Penny. And finally, his second out recorded here in the 8th.
It's been a long 8th inning. But that's how the Firebirds have won games. The 8th inning, the 9th inning, it's been their inning to pounce, to be patient, to be selfless, and to really not make many mistakes. They've been perfect when they've needed to be.
First pitch to Penny is down and in from Ida. Firebirds up 3, now only 6 outs to get when you're talking about the bottom of the 8th and the bottom of the 9th. Still some chances to tack on some insurance. That's exactly what Jack Penny did in Game 2 against Harwich. 1-0 in the air to center. Back goes King. It's down in right field. Around second to third goes Rubin. He slides in safely. Jack Penny, another hit in these playoffs. First and third with 2 outs, and up comes Hallback.
You mentioned Jack Penny adding insurance. He does not drive in a run there, but he tees up Matt Hallback to do just that. You know, Orleans, when facing new arms this season, you know, last time these two played, it was Landon Beitelscheiss, who Orleans hadn't seen before, but was an all-star reliever. They hit him around, and Blake Ida, their first time seeing him, but not scared of one of the better relievers in the Cape Cod baseball. They're going to go right at him. 97 off the bat from Penny.
Rubin on third, Penny on first, who now has 3 hits tonight. He came in with 3 hits in those 2 games against Harwich to make it 6 in just 3 games for Jack Penny in these playoffs. A strike fired, a changeup inside to Matt Hallback. Last time up, hit it really hard to third base, but Theo Hardy made an incredible play down the third base line. Kept the game at 4-3 at that point. Now 7-4 Orleans here in the 8th. Three innings of one-run ball by Everett Catlett as well after Evan Truitt started the game. 0-1 off the end of the bat to first base. Diving is Darby. No one's at first. Hallback runs. The toss is away. In comes Rubin. To third goes Penny. That throw not in time. It gets away from the third baseman. Penny's going to stay at the bag. A wild sequence. A ball off the end of the bat. Darby dove for it, the first baseman. It ended up going to Day, the second baseman. And rushing to first was Ida, the pitcher. The toss by Day was wide. In comes Rubin. 8-4 Orleans. Moving to third is Penny.
Charged in error is the second baseman, Day, who's second for the Red Sox today. And Orleans has now batted around here in the 8th inning. Eddie Micheletti due up for the second time.
2 outs. Runners on the corners. First pitch to Micheletti is high and outside. That's another big run in, making it now a 4-run game. Possibly, maybe save Sean Matson from the 8th to the 9th, but also just giving your pitching staff one more run to work with. 1-0, fouled back.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think that sequence for YD kind of just takes you inside their headspace right now. They're frantic. They know that every play needs to be made and that pressure is added up, and I think there were probably 2 errors and 1 there that cost you. And it puts you in such a tough spot.
1-1. Micheletti line drive to right field, but right at Montgomery, who makes the catch. But what an inning for Orleans. 5 runs on the top of the 8th, headlined by a grand slam by Fenwick Trimble. 8-4 Birds as we go to the bottom of the 8th on the Birds Broadcast Network. Wow, that's all you can say after the top of the 8th. That saw the Firebirds score 5 runs and take an 8-4 lead to the bottom of the 8th. Everett Catlett, 3 innings, a 1-run ball. He got here just a few days ago, and he's back out here in the 8th, protecting a 4-run lead. Ian, we're not the only game in town tonight. What's happening in the West Division in their finals?
Not a whole lot up to this point. Bottom of the 2nd between Hyannis and Bourne from McKeon Park. It's still 0-0 and a rematch of last year's West Division final, which saw Hyannis lose to Bourne.
Montgomery on the ground, booted by Jack Penny. It was him and Oyama on the left side of the infield. Montgomery will reach. We'll see how they officially score it. It'll be a hit. It was a hit pretty hard on the ground. So a hit from Montgomery to start this inning. And up comes Hunter Hines, the lefty.
Only a 4-run game. Orleans clearly with the momentum. 7 of their 8 runs scored in the last 2 innings. But a big swing from Hunter Hines could change the complexion of this game. We already saw it earlier.
Catlett, a deep breath. The first pitch to Hines, fouled back. Nobody out. Montgomery on first. Firebirds in the shift with Penny behind second base and Oyama playing in shallow right field. Carpellotti goes and gives some words of motivation to his Georgetown teammate, Everett Catlett. A battery in D.C. and now a battery on the Cape.
3 home runs for YD today, the latest off a bat of Hines, and it was against Catlett to lead off his 6th inning.
The only blemish on his radar so far. 0-1, strike 2.
It's a good pitch. Fastball just gets the outer edge against Hines in this lefty-on-lefty battle.
Catlett nods at the first sign from Carpellotti. 0-2, the count to Hines. Foul ball off the end of the bat.
It's a cool thing about Orleans. 2 catchers all year, and they're doing it all. Behind the plate, and Carpellotti, he knows what Catlett wants to throw in every situation. These two are as tight as you can get in summer ball.
Orleans, one of the only teams this summer for the catchers to call their pitches on their own. 0-2, fastball high, no chase from Hines, but Carpellotti points at him and says, that's exactly where I wanted it. At 92 miles per hour, right around the shoulders of Hines. Montgomery on first, the 1-2 pitch, pop up in the infield, foul territory, over goes Hallback and Oyama, and the play is made. Hallback with the catch in front of the Orleans dugout for out number 1.
You know, when you limit Hunter Hines to 1 RBI in a game, you'll take that. He hits 1 ball 365 feet that gets over the wall here at Red Wilson Field. You live with it. But the other 3 times he comes up to the plate, strikeout, ground out, pop out. Orleans has done a great job all year long of limiting the Mississippi State star.
Up comes Ryan Stafford, the righty. Catlett, a soft toss over to first to keep Montgomery close. Some action in the Firebirds bullpen. Sean Matson slowly getting warm. Not a safe situation. The first pitch to the batter in Stafford is high. With a runner on, it would be a safe situation, as it's a 4-run game. 8-4 Orleans after 7 runs. 2 in the 7th and 5 in the 8th. The 1-0 is fouled back. Ian, how do you even go over what happened in that 8th inning? It was all at the bottom of the order, and it was headlined by someone making their first at-bat of the game in Fenwick Trimble.
So hard to come off the bench and contribute in the box. But Fenwick Trimble has waited to help this team in a big moment all year. He finally does.
1-1 just outside with the fastball.
Yeah, Fenwick Trimble's been an everyday competitor for this team. He's played really well in the outfield. He's had his moments from the plate, but he shows you a little bit of everything. The power, the clutch ability, just like he did throughout his sophomore season at James Madison.
2-1, another pop-up, but this time out of play to come off the bench. Now, Kelly Nicholson and the Firebirds were playing the matchup game. They had Boston Mabius, the left-hander, on the mound, which is why they went to Fenwick Trimble. But before his spot came up, Jake Casey was on deck and swinging in the on-deck circle. The Firebirds thought they'd bring in Blake Ida with the bases loaded. They did not. They sent up Trimble, who was warming up in the dugout, and he goes deep. The 2-2 pitch on the ground to second. Let's see if they can turn it. Oyama to Penny on the first. Double play. 4-6-3. Everett Catlett. 4 innings of 1-run ball. 8-4 still the score as we go to the 9th. Back on the Birds Broadcast Network. It's been a game of ebbs and flows. Right now, it's flowing the Firebirds' way. Everett Catlett just finished his 4th inning of work, allowing just 1 run on a Hunter Hines solo shot. Firebirds up 8-4 after they were down 4-1. 7 straight runs. In the 7th, they scored 2. In the 8th, they scored 5. Now in the 9th, it's Eddie King Jr. facing Blake Ida, who came in that 8th inning. Allowed 1 run, which was of Mabius's. Almost gave up another. But he starts this 9th inning, down 4. First pitch to King is low from the righty Ida.
Last inning, you showed your patience and you had your best at bats of the game. It has to continue here in the 9th inning. 4 runs, not insurmountable.
1-0, fouled, third base side.
We saw Orleans with just 1 swing, right? Fenwick Trimble with a grand slam with 4 runs of his own. I know it would be pretty unlikely to see another one, but you have to add on.
The 1-1 is low. $11 hits for Orleans, an offense that didn't have a good series. In all reality, against Harwich, it was the pitching that was huge in that series. The pitching has been great again today, and the offense has had an explosion. 2-2, line drive to short, backing up and making the play is Jackson. The throw is in time to Darby. 1 out here in the 9th. Up comes Brandon Stallman.
You know, you talk about what this team is winning games with. When the offense is playing like it is in the 8th inning, and the pitching has still been really good, there's no team in the league, I think, that can beat the Firebirds.
First pitch to Stallman is low. And if they finish off this job, it would be not only 3 straight wins in the playoffs, but 3 wins coming from behind. Shows a lot about a team, a lot of resiliency on this group.
I mean, I know it sounds cliche to say they've figured out how to win, but they really have.
The 1-0 is popped up, third base side in fair territory. It's Hardy. He makes the catch for out number 2.
And I know necessarily these at-bats might not reflect what we saw last inning, but unbelievable. 1 inning a game, this offense can figure it out, and if the pitching can carry them the rest of the way, whether it's starters or bullpen, this team is going to continue to get wins.
2 pitchers used so far for Orleans in a game that has 12 runs in it, 8 by Orleans. Owen Carpellotti, the batter. First pitch is low by Ida. Carpellotti came in as a pinch hitter in the 7th and struck out to start out the inning to Pablo Torres. But then an incredible at-bat to walk in the 8th to load the bases. And then the man on deck, Fenwick Trimble, grand slam. 1-0 to Carpellotti is fouled in and out of the glove of Stafford for a strike. And we mentioned it, Everett Catlett, 4 innings out of the bullpen. He did start this summer in Mystic in the NECBL. Possibility he could get the 9th as well.
Well, Sean Matson's getting warm in the bullpen right now, but I think we could be seeing a similar situation to the one that we saw game 1 against Harwich. Matson got warm in the bullpen that day, didn't end up pitching, then came out guns blazing in game 2.
2-1, popped up, shallow left field, back goes Hardy, in comes Cook. Cook, the left fielder, makes the catch for out number 3. A 1-2-3 inning for Ida. 3 outs to go. Orleans needs them with a 4-run lead. We'll see who's coming out here in the 9th. Stay with us. We go bottom 9 in a game that is flipped on its head. From 4-1 with YD in control to Orleans up 8-4. Going to the bottom of the 9th. Everett Catlett back to the mound. 4 innings of 1-run ball and a pinch hitter for YD to start off this inning. Dub Gleed, the righty, bats instead of Brady Day, the righty instead of the lefty. First pitch to Gleed is inside for a ball. And we mentioned Catlett. He started this summer at Mystic. He's thrown a lot of pitches today. He's thrown just below 60. 1-0 is low, but now with a 4-run lead rather than a 3-run lead, you feel comfortable putting the lefty out there.
It's so interesting. You got to give Kelly Nicholson a lot of credit. He's putting so much faith in Catlett to close out a playoff game. He just met the guy a week ago.
The 2-0 into left field for a base hit. To lead off this 9th, Dub Gleed off the bench and a single over the head of Jack Penny and into left. A leadoff runner for YD here in the 9th.
Dub Gleed, one of the best players on this team all summer long. An all-star who hits just around 300. Collegiate teammate of Joe Oyama, UC Irvine. Pickler plays the matchup game, goes righty against the lefty Catlett and plays a day. It pays off. Can Darby, who already has a home run today, come up big?
So now with a runner on, still Firebirds up 8-4. With Matson in their back pocket if they need it. It's Darby the batter, the lefty against the lefty Catlett. Nobody out, 1 on. First pitch on the ground to second. Oyama to second for 1. Penny's the throw to first. Double play! 4-6-3. Second double play of the night for the Firebirds. And they're 1 out away from taking game 1 here in Yarmouth.
And they couldn't have come at better times. 4-6-3 to end the 8th inning. A 1-2-3 frame, technically, for Mr. Catlett. 4-6-3 again here in the 9th. Getting big ground balls when he needs them. Really great job out of a Georgetown pitcher.
Catlett will face Casey Cook, who bats as the last chance for YD. Sees a ball fired outside. And the Firebirds down 4-1 have scored 7 unanswered runs. 2 in the 7th inning and 5 in the 8th. A grand slam by Fenwick Trimble to give them the lead. The 1-0 pitch is popped up in foul territory. Brandon Stallman is under it. Stallman makes the catch. The Firebirds come from off the deck, and they win game 1, 8-4 against YD. A team that just doesn't give up. 3 wins in the playoffs and 3 come from behind victories as well. Game 1 goes to Orleans, heading back home tomorrow.
Series will be played tomorrow in Orleans at 6:30 p.m. Please drive safely. We look forward.
This is what this season was meant to be, right? The 2 best teams in the East Division going at it when it matters the most. And ultimately, the team that has played the best from behind the entirety of the playoffs has 1 more life left in them. What a big win this is on the road against a YD team that has given Orleans fits for years in the postseason. Now you return home tomorrow in what should be an unbelievable crowd, even for a Tuesday night, and you get it done. Fenwick Trimble and Everett Catlett. I'm not going to lie, if you thought late in July those were the 2 names that were going to step up in the biggest moment for Orleans, not a lot of people probably would have said, okay, yeah, sure, let me go for that. But wow, Fenwick Trimble, a day 1 guy who's been so solid, so steady, has stayed the course, comes up big in his moment. And then Everett Catlett closes this game out with confidence. Him and Owen Carpolati getting it done like they did at Georgetown. Can't wait for tomorrow.
Tomorrow, a 6:30 start at Eldridge. The Firebirds looking for the win to clinch it, to go to the championship. We're hoping to get a player on the postgame show. It's going to be Fenwick Trimble, the man with the grand slam. He'll be joining Ian right after he signs another autograph. But 8-4 final, Orleans wins, and Fenwick Trimble comes over to the booth.
Fenwick Trimble, we talk about this team and the characteristics of a group that is so tight. They want to be here. And Fenwick Trimble, who's been here since day 1, comes up in such a big spot. Fenwick, just walk me through that at bat and your biggest swing of the summer so far.
Yeah, I mean, last time I faced that guy, he made me look pretty silly on a strikeout, and knew he had a good curveball, and I got into a good count, and thankfully got a good swing off, and I hit it well, and got a shot. Owen Carpoletti, great walk in front of me, and that was a big at bat, little momentum shift for us, and got something to hit and got it. So
I know.
good, yeah.
I know. Obviously, it was such a big moment for the group, but just for you personally, you mentioned facing Mabius for the second time against a team you've seen a lot this summer, and to have that big breakthrough moment for you individually, what does that mean?
I mean, it's great. It's like, all the guys around us are awesome teammates, and it makes the summer a lot of fun. And, winning's a lot of fun with these guys, playing's a lot of fun with these guys, and we got to come back and get these guys again tomorrow. So we're going to be ready for them.
You say the word comeback, and what comes to mind is what this group has been over the last 4 days. I mean, it doesn't start necessarily the prettiest, but time and time again, doesn't matter if a deficit, this group is going to continue to battle back. And, what does that say about this group? The final 3 innings, it's like you guys are at your best.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's no quit in this group, and that's why it's been so fun, and everyone's having a great time together. And when you're having a good time, you end up winning usually. And it's we're a tough team, and we stick it out to the end. It feels like every game, and we're playing pretty good ball right now, so it's a lot of fun.
Fenwick Trimble here on Cooling Down. I'll let you go after this, Fenwick. How special is it that you go to Eldridge Park tomorrow with an opportunity in front of a home crowd to get Orleans back to the championship series for the first time in a decade?
It feels great. I mean, we've been working for it all summer, and looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Going to be a lot of fun. Fenwick Trimble, that was a lot of fun. 400 feet to left field, a grand slam in his biggest moment of the summer. Fenwick Trimble, thanks so much for joining us on Cooling Down.
Thank you.
All right, we'll have Dylan join us right back here on the broadcast in just a moment. Fenwick, what a big moment for him. Dylan, these guys continue to say the same message, which is it's just fun playing for one another. You got to think it's a little more complicated than that, but at the same time, when this group cares so much about each other, it doesn't matter who it is. We say it throughout the broadcast every single time. They always have their back.
They do, and it's great at-bat after great at-bat. It starts in the 8th inning. Ian, every single order has guys that you're supposed to be afraid of. We talk about YD, Braden Montgomery, Hunter Hines. You go through every team in this league, and there's guys that you should be afraid of. For Orleans, you should be afraid of everybody because everyone can have a great at-bat. Everyone can come up in a big spot, and that's what it is. Today, you talk about that 8th inning. I want to go back. Let's go back to Harvard series to start. Game 1, Brandon Stallman at-bat, 9-pitch at-bat. Game 2, Eddie King at-bat. Those two changed the game. Today, Owen Carpoletti has the at-bat to change the game, and Trimble hits it out.
Yeah, it starts with him showing bunt and then having to call an audible and understand that this bat is going to last a little bit longer. Couldn't get the bunt down on the first pitch, and then takes a moment to probably realize, with just 1 out and 2 base runners on, you cannot make the second out. You've got to get on no matter what. And if Mabius, who, like Fenwick said in the post-game interview, can make you look silly with that curveball, is going to come out there and continue to throw it, don't bite at it. Understand that you need to pass the baton to somebody else who may be more equipped or may just be in a better position to make a play than you. And Carpoletti passes the baton one more time after back-to-back base hits from Eddie King Jr. and Brandon Stallman, 2 guys who you just singled out as having great at-bats over the last couple days in the Harwich series. And Fenwick Trimble has his moment, and he doesn't have that moment if it isn't for Owen Carpoletti. So it goes down as just a walk and a run score, but it's so much more in the ebbs and flows of a tight game like this.
Yeah, ebbs and flows is exactly right. From 4-1 to 8-4, they put up 7 runs in 2 innings. And let's look at it from the other standpoint. Orleans is all pumped up right now after the day of rest yesterday. YD went through a tough game yesterday, and now they blew a big lead here tonight. How do they get back off the mat and try to win tomorrow on the road?
Not easy, right? In a place in Eldridge Park that, YD has beaten you 2 out of 3 times this year, but I think so much has changed, and a lot of those wins were in the early part of the season for YD. I don't think you could take a lot out of it. Again, you set yourself up in a great position if you're Orleans. You only use 2 pitchers. Evan Truitt goes 4 tonight. In the summer, it's been so long for him. In the spring, that was even longer. He gives you the 4 innings that you desperately needed out of him. And then Evan Catlett gives you 5. I mean, unbelievable. Everett Catholic, rather. I mean, we barely know who this guy is, but they're rallying behind him because, Owen Carpellotti believes in him and everybody else believes in him too now. And give Kelly Nicholson a lot of credit to go for him for one more inning to save Sean Matson for tomorrow. Set up whoever your starting pitcher is in a really good spot, knowing that if you can get the ball into his hand at the end of the day, it's as good as gone. So it's a YD group that showed a lot of fight tonight. Give them a lot of credit after a tiring 3-game series against Brewster. But I would not want to be them going into Eldridge Park tomorrow.
We'll tell you when it is, 6:30 tomorrow. We don't know the starting pitchers for either of the teams, but tomorrow, 6:30 at Eldridge. And that's the thing, 8-4 the final here. Orleans wins it over YD in Game 1. Ian, before we go, we got to do two things. Number one, we got to pay the bills. And number two, we have to give our wonderful listeners a scoreboard update on Hyannis and Bourne, the other game tonight.
Of course, the winner of this East Division Championship Series obviously is going to play the winner of the Bourne Hyannis Series. There has been some scoring since the last time we told you about what was going on. The Braves, who just took down the Commodores, now lead, or rather just took down Katuitt, the number one seed in the whole league. Bourne leads 3-1 over Hyannis in the top of the fourth inning from McKeon Park. That is Game 1, so that game probably won't close until 9 o'clock tonight. So follow the Cape League on socials to figure out what happens there and to see who Orleans or YD could potentially be playing in the championship series.
8-4 the final here. And, of course, we thank our pregame sponsor, Siemens Bank, and our postgame sponsor,
Mazzio Construction.
Of course.
Who's worked hard to build a resume for itself. Let them put their knowledge, experience, and passion together to work for you. Their team is committed to exceed your expectations. New home, addition to existing home, renovation, they handle it all. They work close with their clients to make sure that all your needs are met. They're honest, on time with schedule, and passionate about what they do. Give them a call. Let them introduce you to their work. Let's see how they can help you. Mazzio Construction, LLC, the official post-game sponsor of Cooling Down, right here on the Birds Broadcast Network. Make sure you like and subscribe to see what happens tomorrow in Game 2.
Game 2 tomorrow, 6:30 first pitch, but 6:15 scorching start. We'll have everything ready for you. Interviews, pregame coverage, anything your heart desires will be 6:15 tomorrow at Eldridge. If you can't come, make sure to tune in on the Birds Broadcast Network. Good night, everybody.